Chapter 371. Virtual Fire Art, Samadhi Fire Palm. Yen Zun's eyes were already blood-red. He must kill Ning Fan before the two Void Refinement Realm experts befriend him. With a grab of his 5 fingers, 3 earth-vein demonic flames of different colors floated before him. With another grab, 100 grade for spirit flames appeared dazzlingly. Yen Zun clasped his palms together. All of the flames suddenly began to gather, turning into an exquisite jade-green palm imprint. Without saying a word, he slammed it at Ning Fan with great force. This fire palm was a void-level Dharma spell, and it had been cultivated by the Flame Lord for thousands of years. The strength of that palm strike was infinitely close to that of an early Void Refinement Realm attack. It was a supreme technique bestowed by the Rain Palace. The power of a single palm turned into a 40,000 zhang palm imprint. In the midst of the deafening rumble, space shattered, and the entire Black Warrior city shook violently. The power of that palm strike was definitely not something an ordinary half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator could withstand. This palm was beyond everyone's expectations. All the cultivators who were spectating could see that the winner between Ning Fan and Yen Zun had already been decided. Ning Fan was the winner while Yen Zun was the loser. Obviously, Yen Zun had kept his promise and handed over the earth-vein demonic flame. Ning Fan had already shown mercy and spared revered Yan's life. However, revered Yan didn't know what was good for him. He took advantage of Ning Fan's carelessness and sent out a fire palm of absolute death in an attempt to kill Ning Fan. How despicable and shameless. The two Void Refinement Realm experts were enraged at the same time. Just now, they wanted to stop the battle. However, they did not expect that Flame Revered would continue to sneak an attack on Ning Fan after he was defeated. That was a complete disgrace to the Rain Palace. No, face was not a big deal. If they killed Ning Fan, they would lose the chance to make a contribution. Bringing Ning Fan back to the Rain Palace and helping the Divine Sovereign retrieve that item was a great contribution. Yun Yen. Stop. If you dare to hurt this person, the God Emperor will punish you heavily. The threats of the two did not enter the ears of the Flame Lord at all. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Even though he did not kill Flame Revered, he was secretly observing his every move. It was certainly impossible for him to be ambushed by a mere Flame Revered. Wrong, he did it wrong again. Was it because he had too many concerns that the Flame Reverend felt that he was weak and easy to bully? This person did not know what was good for him. If he were to let this person go, he would definitely leave behind countless troubles. It's me, I was too merciful. Ning Fan took a step forward. His killing intent immediately rose. This Flame Reverend was very strong. If not for the fact that his steel of sun and moon countered all flames, it would not have been easy for him to defeat the Flame Reverend. Since this person hated Ning Fan to the bone, how could Ning Fan let him go? If they let this person go, would another Gusu be massacred? If the Flame Reverend wanted to kill someone, even Dong Su would not be able to stop him. The Pleasure Devil Island was in danger, the Bai Yao sect was in danger, and with this person's capability, if he found out about Yu country, he and the other girls would definitely be in danger. Ning Fan did not regret saving Yalan. The only thing he regretted was that he seemed to be a little lenient towards Flame Reverend. So what if I offend two Void Refinement Realm experts? So what if we offend the Rain Palace? If I let this person go, I won't offend him. Since he could not avoid offending the Flame Reverend, he would kill the Flame Reverend and silence him. Sword Crystal, appear. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the last Sword Crystal. It contained the full force attack of a mid-Void Refinement Realm sword cultivator. He had already given the early stage Sword Crystal to Shi Ran and Wu Yen. This was his last one. Ning Fan's defense against flames could be said to be heaven-defying. However, if he wants to kill Revered Flame instantly, even his Black Tempest soul-splitting technique might not be able to do it. Although the sword crystal was precious, it was the best use for it to kill a potential threat. Break! An extremely dazzling sword light shot out from Ning Fan's palm. At the next moment, it turned into 1,000,000 rays of sword light with terrifying auras. The sword crystal was already extremely strong in the first place. After Ning Fan fused it with his sword intent, its power was stimulated to its maximum. The flaming palm that was powerful enough to severely injure a half-step void refinement realm was crushed by the 1,000,000 rays of sword light in just a breath's time. Countless rays of sword light instantly drowned Flame Reverend. His face was filled with astonishment. He could not understand why Ning Fan actually possessed such a precious sword crystal. A mid-void refinement realm sword crystal. Impossible. Even I find it hard to obtain such a powerful life-saving treasure. Why do you have it? Why? Ah! Amidst a miserable shriek, Flame Reverend's physical body exploded into a mist of blood. Even his primordial spirit was crushed and he died instantly. All that was left were balls of fire. All of them were the spirit flames that Flame Reverend had devoured when he was still alive. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and kept them away along with his storage pouch. The entire Black Warrior city was shocked. Ning Fan actually dared to kill a revered elder of the Rain Palace in front of everyone. This man is really audacious. Ning Fan coldly stared at the two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace. His eyes flashed with ferocious light. He was the one who killed them. So what if he killed them? Why does he need to worry about this matter being exposed and offending the Rain Palace? If I kill these two Void Refinement Realm experts as well as all the cultivators who witnessed this incident on Penglai Immortal Island, those who should be killed, those who should be captured and those who should be silenced, only sparing those who are close to me who will never betray me, as long as I don't let any of them go, who would know that Ning Fan would kill Flame Reverend? It's fine if I don't kill them. If I do, I'll eliminate them completely. If I'm afraid of the slightest thing, there's no need for me to continue cultivating as a devil. Hiss, the two Void Refinement Realm experts sucked in a cold breath. If they did not see it wrongly, that mid-Void Refinement Realm sword chi was gentle and treacherous. Both of them recalled a person at the same time. It seemed like the third elder of the Zhou clan was a mid-Void Refinement Realm sword cultivator. In other words, this piece of sword crystal is actually the third elder's sword. Ning Fan is also hiding a mid-Void Refinement Realm third elder of the Zhou clan. When they met Ning Fan's current gaze, both of them felt a chill in their hearts for no reason. Ning Fan's current gaze was as if he wanted to kill them to silence them. It was just too terrifying. Ning Fan's current killing intent actually gave the two of them an extremely dangerous feeling. Both of them were stunned. Could it be that the third elder who is hiding in Ning Fan's heavenly dwelling has given an order to go all out and kill both of us as well? Yes. That's right. The third elder of the Zhou clan has a strong cultivation base. He is also ruthless. It's fine if he doesn't kill them, but once he does, he will kill his entire clan. This third elder is going to take action against the two of them. Rumor has it that the third elder is about to break through to the late Void Refinement Realm. His sword techniques are so strong that killing early Void Refinement Realm experts is as easy as killing ants. The two of them immediately realized that they must immediately clear their misunderstanding with Ning Fan to prevent the two of them from becoming enemies. It was not only because they were afraid of the third elder of the Zhou clan but also because they needed to befriend Ning Fan in order to obtain that item. Even though the two of them were unhappy about Ning Fan killing Flame Reverend, there was nothing they could do about it. Flame Reverend was already dead. Both of them had failed in their duties. Even if they returned to the Rain Palace, they would probably be punished. If they can recruit Ning Fan to serve the Rain Palace, not only would they not fail in their duties, but they would also make great contributions and be rewarded handsomely by the Divine Sovereign. Ning Fan had a natural restraint against flames. Even if he had yet to break through to the Void Fragmentation Realm, he was very confident that he could enter the Sea of Flames and retrieve that item. This matter was the most important matter in the Rain world. Compared to this matter, the life of Flame Reverend was not worth mentioning at all. The two of them exchanged glances with each other and squeezed out a smile on their faces. Inwardly, they were determined to resolve the misunderstanding between them today and befriend Ning Fan. "Little friend, are you hurt? It was really dangerous just now. If little friend is hurt, we would really feel guilty. This Yun Yen really doesn't know what's good for him." He had obviously lost the bet, but he still plotted against little friend. He really deserved to die. Even if little friend doesn't attack him, the two of us will kill him. Their words stunned countless cultivators. Originally, everyone thought that the two Void Refinement Realm experts were going to avenge Flame Reverend. However, the development of the matter was far beyond everyone's expectations. What kind of development was this? The revered elder of the Rain Palace was chopped into pieces. Not even his bones were left. Why did these two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace still have the mood to laugh? Or were they laughing at Ning Fan, the murderer? Even though it was not wrong for Ning Fan to kill someone to protect himself, killing a revered elder of the Rain Palace in front of everyone was like slapping the Rain Palace's face. How could the Rain Palace not pursue such a serious matter? This was not in line with the domineering style of the Rain Palace. "Oh. Seniors, don't you think that I'm guilty of killing someone?" Ning Fan was slightly surprised. Obviously, he did not expect that the two Void Refinement Realm experts would actually smile at him with kindness. His plan of killing the two Void Refinement Realm experts on the spot was temporarily postponed. He thought to himself. Could it be that Flame Reverend has a grudge against them and killing them just happens to fulfill their wish? Little friend, you must be joking. The Endless Sea is a lawless place. Killing is not a crime. Besides, Yun Yen was the one who tried to kill him first. Little friend, you were just trying to protect yourself. What crime is there to be guilty of? Little friend, don't worry. No one will blame you for Yun Yen's death. The two of us can guarantee that. Moreover, little friend is much more useful to the Rain Palace than Yun Yen. Little friend, you don't have to worry about anything. The two Void Refinement Realm experts chuckled as if Flame Reverend's death was just an insignificant matter. Ning Fan stared at the two of them deeply. From their words, the reason why they changed their attitudes was because he was more useful than Flame Reverend. Inwardly, he thought. Could it be that the two of them have something to ask of me? Otherwise, given their identity as Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace, it was impossible for them to speak to me in such a soft and gentle tone. So that's how it is. I have value to be used by the Rain Palace. On the other hand, this value could allow Ning Fan to gain a lot of benefits from the Rain Palace. How is the third elder? One of the Void Refinement Realm experts suddenly asked with a smile. Ning Fan remained silent. The more one talks, the more mistakes he would make. He had yet to figure out the real purpose of these two experts. Hee. It's fine if little friend doesn't want to say it. The two of us can also guess that old man Zhou Chen must be hiding something in your heavenly dwelling. Zhou Chen. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat, but his expression did not show it. This name was very unfamiliar. At least, it was not known in the Internal Sea. Seeing that Ning Fan did not reply, the two of them did not ask any further. Instead, they suddenly asked another question. Little friend, are you willing to join the Rain Palace and become a revered elder? If little friend is interested, the two of us can recommend you to the Rain Palace. His words were too shocking. All the cultivators in the city who heard his words were in an uproar. Since when did the threshold of becoming a revered elder of the Rain Palace become so low? Didn't they reject devil cultivators and demon cultivators from joining the Rain Palace? Didn't they say that those who kill people like flies are not allowed to join the Rain Palace? Why was revered Ming still valued by the Void Refinement Realm and wanted to recruit him after he killed the revered Elder of the Rain Palace? It was unimaginable. It was too unimaginable. Ning Fan pondered over the words of the two Void Refinement Realm experts. He seemed to have some guesses. These two people probably really have something to ask of me. Otherwise, they would not give me such a great benefit. Not everyone could become a revered Elder of the Rain Palace. Once you become a revered Elder of the Rain Palace, almost no one in the 800 cultivation countries would dare to offend you. Seniors, what request do you have? You can just tell me. If there are enough benefits, it's not like I can't help you. Of course. The two Void Refinement Realm experts' faces were filled with joy. Little friend, do you have time to talk to us in detail? Little friend, don't worry. The two of us can swear on our great heart devil oath that we will never hurt you. We will also not put you in too much danger. As for the benefits, we will definitely satisfy you. Ning Fan also did not think that they had the ability to hurt him. After giving the two of them a deep look, Ning Fan retracted his killing intent. Without revealing his expression, he landed outside the southern tower and smiled at Bei Xiaoman. Miss Bei, do you mind lending me a place to have a good talk with these two seniors? Of course I mind. Bei Xiaoman glared at Ning Fan angrily. She did not know why, but she would get angry when she saw Ning Fan smile. She could not bear to see him being complacent. However, when she saw that Ning Fan was safe and sound, she felt relieved. Fortunately, it did not cause a bigger dispute. When she saw Ning Fan killing revered Flame just now, she was really scared to death. Offending the Rain Palace was not a joke. Is that so? What does it have to do with me if you mind? Seniors, please enter the tower for a talk. Ning Fan walked into the southern tower alone. The two Void Refinement Realm experts exchanged glances. They could not hide the excitement in each other's eyes and followed him into the southern tower. Bei Xiaoman was furious. I have already said that I mind. How could Ning Fan do as he pleases and enter the southern tower without permission? Since it has nothing to do with you, why did you ask me? Are you trying to anger me on purpose? The southern tower was her, Bei Xiaoman's, territory. Did she allow him to enter? Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? My lady, please calm down. The matter that Big Brother Zhou is discussing with the two Void Refinement Realm seniors is a matter of life and death. If the discussion fails, I'm not sure if those two seniors will hurt Big Brother Zhou. They have a favor to ask of Big Brother Zhou. That's why they showed mercy and did not pursue the matter of revered Flame's death. But if. Yilan was a little worried. Her cultivation base was not high, but she was an intelligent woman. Of course I know. Otherwise, I'll kick that stinking Zhou Ming out. Bei Xiaoman glared at Yilan. She suddenly felt a little annoyed. Just now, she heard from Lu Qing that the reason why Ning Fan killed revered Flame and his disciple was all because of this Yilan. In the past, Bei Xiaoman had never paid attention to this subordinate of hers, much less looked up to her. Now, he was looking at Yilan as if he wanted to eat her up. He felt inexplicably irritated and a little envious. What right did he have to kill someone for Yilan but not for me, Bei Xiaoman? Why did Ning Fan treat others so well but bully her everywhere? Don't call him Big Brother Zhou. Remember, you're not allowed to do that. Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she stomped her feet. Then, she ran off to play a game of pricking straw dolls with needles. The one she was going to stab was undoubtedly Ning Fan. Lu Qing stared at Bei Xiaoman, who was venting her anger everywhere. He stroked his beard and seemed to have understood something. Hee. It seems like the fourth young lady already has a sweetheart. Even though revered Ming is a cultivator from the lower worlds, his innate potential is really high. He is a good match for young lady. However, Lu Qing suddenly sighed. But young Miss has an engagement with the Shi-Men clan. Should I do something to prevent young Miss from getting too close to revered Ming? Chapter 372. With Ning Fan leading the way and the two Void Refinement Realm experts following behind him, they walked all the way to the southern tower. Elder Mo did not dare to stop them at all. He was just a puny third revolution high-grade pill master. He could not afford to offend the three great deities in front of him. He did not even dare to stop them from entering the tower. The two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace naturally had respectable statuses. Ning Fan's ferocious reputation would go even further from today onwards. The Flame Reverend's strength could be ranked in the top 3 among the Supremes of the Inner Sea. Since Ning Fan was able to defeat Revered Flame, he was almost the first person below the Void Refinement Realm in the Endless Sea. Especially when Ning Fan passed through the Sea of Flames that was 10,000 li in a relaxed manner, just like the Sovereign of Flames. Elder Hiroshi would never forget that scene for the rest of his life. When they arrived at the main hall of the second floor, Old Mo excused himself respectfully. Ning Fan and the two Void Refinement Realm experts sat on separate seats and began to size each other up. Interesting, the corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved upwards. Killing the Flame Reverend today should have ended in silence. However, no one expected it to end in such a manner. The two Void Refinement Realm experts of the Rain Palace were both at the early Void Refinement Realm. One of them was dressed in a bright yellow dragon robe. His hair was white and his face was pale. He looked awe-inspiring and dignified. His royal chi was overwhelming. His name was Luo Jun. One of them was dressed in silver armor with profound patterns. His body was skinny, and his face was old and beardless. He seemed to be a body cultivator, and his name was Chu Hao. The Divine Transformation Realm experts were the revered elders while the Void Refinement Realm experts were the Palace Masters. These two Void Refinement Realm experts were the Palace Masters of their respective palace branches in the Rain Palace. After briefly introducing each other's identities, the three of them remained silent for a moment. Ning Fan knew that it was time to get down to business. Seniors, please speak your mind. What difficulties do you have that you need my help with? I'm just a soul formation cultivator. I'm really troubled. Since you've asked, I'll naturally tell you the truth. But before that, please allow me to express my gratitude. Luo Jun smiled insincerely. Oh. Thank you. Why do you say that? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. I had a descendant who was an elder of the Luo Yang sect in the Outer Seas, but a few days ago, he was killed by a group of bandits. According to this old man's investigation, those bandits were stationed on Molan Island, but they were driven away by little friend Luo. This can be considered as helping this Luo's descendants vent their anger. I will naturally thank you, little friend. Luo Jun's expression seemed sincere as if Ning Fan had really done him a favor. You flatter me. Ning Fan did not express his opinion but was pondering in his mind. Driving away a group of bandits, was this considered a favor? It didn't count. The reason why Luo Jun thanked Ning Fan with this matter was just to ease the tension between them and create a good atmosphere for the upcoming conversation. Ning Fan really wanted to know what kind of important matter the two Void Refinement Realm experts Luo and Zhu had to discuss with him. Yun Yen and Gu Zhen, this pair of master and disciple, have really brought about their own destruction in today's matter. You can't be blamed. Fellow Chu and I are both well aware of this, so we will naturally not cause any trouble for you. Fellow Chu can rest assured about this. Luo Jun expressed his goodwill again, as if he was trying his best to get closer to Ning Fan. Senior, if you have something to say, you can say it directly. As long as the benefits are good enough, I rarely refuse the requests of others. All right. My little friend is really straightforward. In that case, if I continue to beat around the bush, it would be my fault. It's like this. My rain temple has an item sealed in a certain abyssal flame sea. As for what it is, you don't need to ask. I only have a rough idea. The flames in that sea of flames were all immortal flames. Even the Rain Sovereign couldn't enter the sea of fire. It's shameful to say this, but the reason why our Rain Palace nurtured Yun Yen was so that he could enter the sea of fire. Unfortunately, even if he breaks through to the void fragmentation realm, I'm afraid he won't have much of a chance to succeed. As for my little friend, to be honest, even though you were attacked by Yun Yan's fire sense, you weren't injured in the slightest. Seeing this old man guessed that if anyone else in the Rain Celestial realm could enter the sea of celestial flames, it would be little friend. Immortal flame. Luo Jun's explanation surprised Ning Fan. He didn't expect that the Rain Palace would fancy his ability to ignore fire attacks. The reason why he could ignore the damage of the flames was because of the steel of sun and moon in the yin-yang locket. He dared not say about the higher grade flames, but at least the flames of the earth vein demonic fire rank couldn't hurt him. He had some confidence in defending himself against a 6th or 7th grade spiritual fire. As for the immortal flame, grade 5 spirit fire was known as the earth vein demon fire. 6th and 7th grade spirit fires were known as virtual fires. Higher grade immortal flames could only be refined and used by immortals. Ning Fan frowned. He didn't have the confidence to survive after entering the immortal flame. Hee. Fellow Taoist, you don't have to be afraid. Even though the abyss is filled with immortal flames, the Rain Sovereign has been using the sovereign rain to weaken the flames for countless years. The power of the immortal flames has been greatly reduced. Moreover, the moon has its ups and downs, the tides have their ups and downs. The sea of flames also has its ups and downs. As long as you enter when the flames are at their weakest, I'm afraid that the power of the flames will only be equivalent to the immortal void flame. With your indestructible fire physique and the secret treasures of my Rain Palace, you won't have to be afraid. Ning Fan didn't say much and silently pondered over Luo Jun's words. The indestructible fire physique that Luo Jun mentioned was a physique that was born with fire. Once this physique was developed to a certain level, the cultivator wouldn't be afraid of any flames below the immortal flame. It seemed like Luo Jun and the others thought that Ning Fan had the indestructible fire physique because he had the indestructible fire physique. As long as one had enough money, everyone could cultivate in the vein opening realm. It seemed fair, but in reality, it was unfair. Cultivators with physiques would naturally be one step ahead of others. Cultivators with fiend god cultivation methods would naturally be one step ahead of others. Ning Fan's greatest luck in this life was reuniting with Jiha and being given the yin-yang locket by her. However, only Ning Fan knew that he actually did not have any special physique. He would not explain it. It was good that he was treated as the indestructible fire physique. After all, one's physique couldn't be snatched away. If others find out that he relied on the yin-yang locket to restrain the flames, there would certainly be people who would snatch his treasure at all costs. If that abyssal flame is only at the immortal void realm, I can also go there and give it a try. However, what benefits would I get from taking such a huge risk? I won't leave the endless sea in a short period of time. If the two seniors ask me to take action now, it will be difficult for me. Besides, there's one more thing that I'm worried about the most. How can the two seniors guarantee that I won't be silenced after I complete the request of the Rain Palace? Ning Fan frowned. In this world, there were too many cases where people would turn their backs on someone. It wasn't strange to burn the bridge after crossing the river and get rid of the donkey after it has outlived its usefulness. Even if the two void refinement realm experts in front of him were humble when asking for help, who could guarantee that they wouldn't turn their backs on him as quickly as flipping a book once the request is completed? For the divine sovereign of the rain world to go through so much trouble to obtain that item, even if he doesn't know what it is, it probably involves a lot of secrets. If this secret is too important, he would most likely be killed after the matter is over. Facing Ning Fan's questioning, Chu Hao let out a cold humph. He was already somewhat dissatisfied. After all, he was the lord of the void refinement realm. It was already rare for him to beg Ning Fan in such a humble manner. Thus, he was already quite dissatisfied with Ning Fan's various questions. If it wasn't because the matter of entering that abyssal flame was too important, Chu Hao really wanted to capture Ning Fan and plant a mental seal on him, forcing him to return to the Rain Palace with him. Fellow Taoist Chu. Don't offend Zhou Chen. As soon as Luo Jun saw that Chu Hao was about to lose his temper, he quickly sent a telepathic message to remind him. The reason why the two of them did not directly use force against Ning Fan was because the matter was of great importance and they did not want to cause unnecessary trouble. Secondly, they misunderstood that Ning Fan was protected by the third elder of the Zhou family, Zhou Chen. As soon as Luo Jun reminded him, Chu Hao's expression immediately changed. He let out two dry chuckles unnaturally. Even though they were both at the void refinement realm, Zhou Chen was a void inquiry stage expert and he was almost invincible among void inquiry stage experts. As for Luo and Chu Hao, they were just at the void glimpse stage. When he thought of Zhou Chen's strength, how would he dare to attack Ning Fan? Since Chu Hao was the bad cop, Luo Jun was the good cop. He chuckled and spoke in a neither hurried nor slow manner. This matter is of great importance. It's normal for little friend to have some concerns. I can help you dispel each of your concerns. I'd like to hear the details. I've already guessed little friend's identity. You must have a deep relationship with Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. Besides, you also have the third elder to protect you when you go out. Hee. With such an identity, even my Rain Palace wouldn't dare to kill you after you've outlived your usefulness. In other words, if it wasn't for Ning Fan's identity, the Rain Palace would most likely do such a thing. Ning Fan did not express his opinion. He had no idea who the third elder was and who Zhou Chen was. Besides, they were not members of the Zhou clan of the Internal Sea. However, if this misunderstanding of his identity could keep him safe, he did not mind letting the two old men continue to misunderstand him. As for little friend's worries about the time conflict, you don't have to worry about it. According to the Rain Sovereign's divination, the next time the Sea of Fire is at its weakest is still several decades away. It will at least be after the Middle State Pill Gathering. Before that, little friend will have enough time to do your own things. If that's the case, time won't be a problem. As long as the benefits are enough, I'm willing to agree to this matter. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and answered. Benefits? Hee. With the resources of my Rain Palace, is it still not enough to satisfy little friend's appetite? After you killed Yun Yen, you already have 7 types of earth vein demonic flames, right? My Rain Palace still has 3 types of demonic flames. If little friend comes to the middle state in the future, you can naturally get them. Luo Jun began to tempt Ning Fan with benefits. He had gradually understood that Ning Fan was an extremely materialistic person. Instead of befriending him, it was better to give him benefits directly. Other than the 3 types of earth vein demonic flames, there are also immortal jades, pills, cultivation methods, secret techniques and even cauldrons. As long as little friend comes to the middle state, we will certainly satisfy you as long as you say the word. Other than these, little friend also has a chance to join the Rain Palace and become a revered elder. I won't hide this from you. With your evil identity and notorious reputation, it's impossible for you to join the Rain Palace. This is your only chance to join the Rain Palace. Once you join the Rain Palace, your clansmen will be able to hang the flag of the Rain Palace legitimately. Fellow Taoist should know what this means. Luo Jun stopped talking and gave Ning Fan enough time to consider. He had already given him benefits. Immortal jades and pills were only for a lifetime. Joining the Rain Palace would bring benefits for thousands of generations. This meant that Ning Fan's descendants could obtain superior cultivation conditions and special privileges. Mortals valued power. Low-level cultivators did not need power. However, when one's cultivation base has reached Luo Jun's and Ning Fan's level, power became important again. To be able to cultivate to this level, one must have accumulated a large amount of cultivation resources. If you don't have an identity, what right do you have to obtain these resources? The 800 cultivation countries did not allow large-scale killings. It would be difficult for you to plunder everywhere like the Star Sea and the Endless Sea. Ning Fan was also tempted. He might only be able to obtain material benefits when he goes to the Rain Palace in the future. As for the title of a revered elder, Ning Fan was confident that as long as he says the word, he would become a revered elder of the Rain Palace from today onwards. He was just like a bandit turning into a soldier. With this title, his loved ones would be very safe. This was what Ning Fan was most tempted by. His lovers were all over the Rain world. It was impossible for him to protect them all. However, if he becomes a revered elder of the Rain Palace, no one would dare to mess with his women anymore. His force would also develop steadily. Other than that, Ning Fan also had another thing, which was the immortal flames in the abyss. Immortal flames rarely remained in the lower world. If he enters the Sea of Flames and takes the opportunity to devour the immortal flames, by then, he would no longer be afraid of Moksha Sovereign. I agree. However, I hope to obtain the title of a revered elder immediately instead of waiting for the Rain Sovereign's approval. Ning Fan smiled. That's impossible. With your identity. Chu Hao was dissatisfied. However, Luo Jun gave him a look and he stopped talking. As long as you make a great heart devil oath to keep what I told you a secret and swear not to violate this agreement, I can make the decision and give you the title of a revered elder of the Equal Heaven Palace. Great Heaven Palace. I can guarantee that I won't leak this matter, but I don't have the habit of making an oath. Zhou Ming. You've crossed the line. Chu Hao was enraged. Luo Jun stopped him again. However, this time, even Luo Jun was a little unhappy. I'm in the Rain world. If I violate the oath, the Rain Palace will naturally eliminate me. Do you think I can run away? Besides, Senior Luo also didn't make an oath. You can certainly guarantee that I won't die. It's only fair that both of us haven't made an oath. Ning Fan said without changing his expression. No matter how much Luo Jun said, it was just a one-sided statement. Other than the title of a revered elder, could he guarantee anything else? If the Rain Sovereign insisted on killing Ning Fan, could he protect him? If Ning Fan took a fancy to a top-grade cultivation method of the Rain Palace, would Luo Jun be qualified to give it to him? Ning Fan was just telling the truth. You're right. Fellow Daoist Chu and I will immediately return to the Rain Palace and report this to the Rain Sovereign to fight for some benefits for you. I'm also willing to believe that you won't dare to betray the Rain Palace. Luo Jun nodded his head. He did not think that Ning Fan had the courage to challenge the Rain Palace. Even Thunder Sovereign Bu Zhou had to compromise with the Rain Palace. How would a mere divine transformation realm cultivator dare to betray them? Oh. If that's the case, the two of you are going to leave now? That's right. However, you don't have to worry. Before you leave, I will send a message to all the forces through my flying sword. From today onwards, you're a revered elder of the Rain Palace. Hee hee. I wonder how many people will be envious of your identity. As soon as Luo Jun and Chu finished speaking, they sent out countless message-transmitting flying swords. They must have informed many forces. After exchanging some pleasantries, the two of them left. As for the matter of revered flame being killed, it was really written off. Luo Jun announced to the outside world that the reason why Ning Fan was promoted to a revered elder was because he had helped the Rain Palace remove the tumor of revered flame. Old Mo was dumbfounded. When he heard that Ning Fan had killed revered flame and Wuzue and was promoted to a revered elder of the Rain Palace, he felt that he must be dreaming. Who could kill a revered elder of the Rain Palace and still be innocent? Who could negotiate with the Lord of the Rain Palace when he was just at the divine transformation realm? The 7 venerated beings of the internal sea could not do it. But Ning Fan did it. Humph. Stinky Zhou, you're really a lucky bastard. An angry and discordant voice came from outside the main hall. Together with her was a lady who wore a worried expression. It was Bei Xiaoman and Yalan. Give Grandpa's stone warrior back to me. Otherwise. Bei Xiaoman glared at Ning Fan angrily. When she saw Ning Fan smile, her heart skipped a beat. Otherwise what? Ning Fan looked at Bei Xiaoman with great interest. It turns out that this unruly girl is really adorable. Chapter 373. Bei Xiaoman was speechless. She really wanted to find a reason to threaten Ning Fan. She really wanted to take back her grandpa's stone warrior and her Yuan Yao jade. She really wanted to defeat Ning Fan and never see his smug smile again. When she broke through to the divine transformation realm, she once thought that she could defeat Ning Fan and teach him a good lesson. However, the truth was that Ning Fan's strength had become much stronger than her after 20 years. When they first met, she was at the half-step divine transformation realm while Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. She did not put him in her eyes at all. After he formed his nascent soul, he defeated her by relying on his yin-yang transformation and Bei Xiaoman's bad temper. She was very unhappy about it. Her grandpa's stone warrior was taken away and her token of love, the Yuan Yao jade, was taken away. Bei Xiaoman once thought that she must hate Ning Fan to the core. However, when she ascended to the divine transformation realm and ascended to the Sea of Clouds, she could not help but praise Ning Fan when she saw her elder sister and mother being praised by other geniuses. She thought that she hated Ning Fan to the core and wished that he would be killed by revered flame. However, when Ning Fan was really in danger, she felt very nervous and wanted to help him for some reason. Why is it like this? Bei Xiaoman had never thought about it. However, when she saw Ning Fan's proud smile, her mind went blank and her heart skipped a beat. This smile is really beautiful. However, why does the owner of this smile always bully me? Why would the owner of this smile rather help a stranger kill someone than treat me well? Bei Xiaoman's expression turned gloomy. Her heart felt a little sour. Please return Grandpa's stone warrior to me. Otherwise, I will never forgive you. Never. As soon as he said that, Bei Xiaoman was stunned. What right did she have to not forgive Ning Fan? Who was she to him? Ning Fan was also stunned. He initially thought that Bei Xiaoman would threaten him to kill him. He never thought that the way she threatened him was to not forgive him. He sighed inwardly. Ning Fan did not have any desire to bully such a Bei Xiaoman. He patted his storage pouch and took out a stone puppet. He blew on it and it immediately grew bigger, turning into Stone Warrior whom he had not seen for a long time. I have promised Stone Warrior that I will let him return to the Lost World Palace one day. Today, I will return him to him. Thump. Bei Xiaoman felt as if a pebble had been thrown into the lake of her heart. Ripples started to form in her heart. When she said that she would not forgive Ning Fan, it was just an inexplicable statement. She never expected that her words would be able to move Ning Fan. She also did not think that the current Ning Fan, who was one of the 8 venerated beings of the internal sea, a revered elder of the Rain Palace and someone who had connections with both the underworld and the underworld, would care about whether she would forgive him or not. However, Ning Fan returned the Stone Warrior to her with just a few words. This is just too unreasonable. This isn't a dream, right? Bei Xiaoman's face turned red, and she did not know what to do. Pinch me and you'll know. Ning Fan casually pinched Bei Xiaoman's face and the corners of his lips curled upwards. Does it hurt? If it hurts, then it's not a dream. It hurts. Zhou Ming, you've gone too far. You. Bei Xiaoman was infuriated once again. The good impression she had towards Ning Fan just now immediately vanished into thin air. She stomped her feet angrily and ran out of the southern tower while covering her small face which had turned red from Ning Fan's pinch. Inside the southern tower, there were only Lu Qing, Shi Bing, and Yalan. Everyone including Shi Bing was speechless. Ning Fan really dared to pinch her. That's the fourth mistress of the northern sky. Looking at Bei Xiaoman's back which was as if she was running away, Ning Fan's eyes darkened. He suddenly realized that bullying this little girl was really fun. Big brother Zhou, thank you. If it wasn't for you, Yalan would have already. Yalan's words broke the silence. You're welcome. It's just a small matter. After not seeing you for 20 years, Miss Yalan has already broken through to the Gold Core realm. Your aptitude is really extraordinary. After hearing Ning Fan's compliment, Yalan's face turned red. The reason why she could break through to the Gold Core realm within 20 years was naturally because of the power of the Lost World Tower. Even so, it was enough to show that her aptitude was extraordinary. It was not that there were no people who praised her. In fact, there were a lot of people who praised her. There were also quite a number of people who pursued her. However, those praises never made her smile a little. Ning Fan's compliment, on the other hand, made her very happy. She felt that her 20 years of hard cultivation was not in vain. Miss Yalan doesn't look too good. Ning Fan's gaze swept across Yalan's face. The latter's face was slightly pale as if she was hurt by Gu Zhen's finger attack. There was a blood stain on her face which was caused by a broken porcelain cup. He wrapped his fingertip with a trace of black star force and wiped it across Yalan's face. In an instant, the wound on her face was healed without leaving a scar. Here are some pills and Dao fruits. They are enough to help you stabilize your Gold Core realm cultivation base and even help you break through to the mid or late Gold Core realm. With your aptitude, it shouldn't be difficult for you to break through to the nascent soul realm in this lifetime. You might even have a chance to attain the divine transformation realm. The elders in your clan are really short-sighted. I believe they will regret giving you to Gu Zhen when you attain the divine transformation realm thousands of years later. Ning Fan praised her generously and passed a storage pouch to Yalan. After being praised by Ning Fan again, Yalan felt both shy and happy. She scanned the storage pouch with her spirit sense and her face was filled with astonishment. There are so many pills and there are even Gold Core realm Dao fruits. These are too precious. Yalan can't accept them. Just accept them. Ning Fan waved his hand. A few bottles of Third Revolution pills and a few Gold Core realm Dao fruits were really nothing to Ning Fan who had nearly 100,000 Gold Core realm Dao fruits. Big brother Zhou, Yalan can't repay such a heavy gift, it's alright. Take the pills and rest first. Don't leave any hidden injuries. I still have some things to discuss with fellow Daoist Lu Qing and fellow Daoist Stone Warrior. Yalan nodded her head obediently. She knew old ancestor Lu Qing. He was the divine transformation realm expert who was in charge of the Lost World Palace. She did not know old ancestor Stone Warrior but she had heard some rumors about him. These divine transformation realm old ancestors were existences that she could not touch with her current status. However, because of Ning Fan, she could stand together with them. This feeling was really like a dream. Yalan returned to her residence to rest. However, she kept thinking about Ning Fan's words. She had never believed that she had any hope of attaining the nascent soul or divine transformation realm. However, Ning Fan had praised her aptitude and she suddenly had confidence in herself. Yes, I must work hard. If I break through to the divine transformation realm one day and recommend myself to Ning Fan again, I wonder if he would still reject me. What am I thinking? Yalan patted her red face angrily. Without Bei Xiaoman and Yalan, the atmosphere in the southern tower became quiet again. Ning Fan's eyes swept across Lu Qing and Stone Warrior with interest. At this moment, Lu Qing's face was filled with astonishment while Stone Warrior's face was filled with surprise. While Ning Fan was chatting with Bei Xiaoman and Yalan, the two of them also had a brief conversation. Lu Qing was astonished because he found out that Stone Warrior had not been by his mistress's side for the past 20 years. It was really too scary. He, Lu Qing, had no idea when Stone Warrior had been taken away. Stone Warrior was astonished because he found out that Ning Fan had killed Revered Flame and obtained the title of Revered Elder. Every time Ning Fan showed his face, he would give him a greater surprise. Stone Warrior suddenly realized that the current Ning Fan was already standing at the peak of the known strength of the Endless Sea. Fellow Taoist, sure, I have already sent you back to the Lost World Palace. Don't you have anything to say? Ning Fan hinted. Cough. Sorry for my rudeness. Only then did Stone Warrior return to his senses. After 20 years, he was finally released by Ning Fan. He knew that what Ning Fan wanted to hear from him was not gratitude but a promise. Stone Warrior had been by Ning Fan's side for too long. He knew a lot of secrets, especially the heaven-fixing morning technique. If that technique were to be leaked, countless true immortals in the four heavens immortal worlds would hunt Ning Fan down. I'm willing to swear to Revered Ming that I will never tell anyone about what happened in the past 20 years. If I break this oath, before Stone Warrior could finish his words, Ning Fan interrupted him. Enough. You don't have to swear to your death. You don't care about death at all. I believe you. After 20 years of living together, Ning Fan had a deep understanding of Stone Warrior. He was a man who was not afraid of death. He would not speak carelessly. If he said that he would not leak the secret, he would rather die than do so. Protect Bei Xiaoman carefully in the future. Don't let her cause any more trouble. Now that I have a close relationship with the Lost World Palace, I should at least protect Bei Xiaoman for them. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with reminiscence as he thought of a woman who had acted preposterously several times. Her. Stone Warrior naturally did not know who the woman Ning Fan mentioned was. Ignoring Stone Warrior's doubt, Ning Fan turned to Lu Qing and said. Fellow Taoist Lu, I need a lot of spiritual herbs that can nourish one's primordial spirit during my trip to the Lost World Palace. I wonder if I can have some. What? Fellow Taoist Zhou's primordial spirit is injured. Both Lu Qing and Stone Warrior were shocked. Could it be that Ning Fan annihilated Revered Flame with serious injuries? How could he be so strong? I have some injuries. Can I have some medicinal herbs? Ning Fan did not expose Luo Yu's existence. Of course. Fellow Taoist is the Tower Lord of the Lost World Palace, the East, the West and the North Towers. Of course, you can take the medicinal herbs. Lu Qing said straightforwardly. Compared to recruiting Ning Fan for the Lost World Palace, a mere spiritual herb was nothing. Oh. Fellow Taoist sure is straightforward. This time, I came to the Lost World Palace because I want to enter the Lost World Tower to cultivate. May I know what the fee is if I want to enter the 7th floor of the tower? The 7th floor. Lu Qing was stunned. He then explained. With fellow Taoists' divine transformation realm strength, you can only enter the 5th floor at most. Even though the Lost World Palace treats pill refinement masters generously, we can only help 5th Revolution pill refinement masters who have yet to reach the divine transformation realm to enter the 5th floor. The higher floors have strict restrictions on one's cultivation base. I understand. Ning Fan did not insist on entering the 7th floor. This time, he only wanted to achieve the divine transformation realm with his magic power. With the experience of achieving the divine transformation realm twice, it would be a piece of cake for him to achieve the divine transformation realm for the 3rd time and it would not take him too long. The time flow on the 5th floor was 132 times faster than the outside world while the 7th floor was 128 times faster than the outside world. The 5th floor and the 7th floor would only take him a year and a half. There was not much difference between them. By the way, before my mistress left in anger, she told me that if fellow Taoist Zhou wants to cultivate in the Lost World Tower, you don't have to pay for it. Everything will be recorded in her account. Oh. Bei Xiaoman treats me so well, but she doesn't have to pay for it. Ning Fan was surprised. My mistress asked me to tell you. What I'm about to say is her original words. It's not my intention. Lu Qing smiled awkwardly and imitated Bei Xiaoman's tone. Stinky Zhou. Don't worry. You don't have to pay to cultivate in the Lost World Tower. You can just treat it as my mistress. Ha! Ning Fan shook his head and laughed. This Bei Xiaoman actually wants to keep me as her mistress. Fellow Taoist, please don't be angry. My mistress just said those words out of anger. Angry? Why should I be angry? Becoming Bei Xiaoman's mistress? Very good. Then, I can take whatever I want from the Lost World Palace, right? The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curled upwards. He did not care about his reputation at all. Becoming Bei Xiaoman's mistress, huh? Very good. Now, I have an excuse to empty the Lost World Palace's storehouse. Improving my pill refinement technique requires a large amount of medicinal ingredients. It's too expensive. I'll burn the Lost World Palace's money first. A day later, Ning Fan had almost emptied the spiritual herb storage of the 4 pill towers of the Lost World Palace. On the second day, Ning Fan officially entered the tower for seclusion. On the top of the southern tower, Bei Xiaoman was lazily munching on melon seeds while listening to the reports from her maidservants. She felt very proud of herself. According to the reports from the maidservants, Ning Fan actually did not reject her identity as her mistress. Humph! Aren't you, great devil Lord Zhou, very proud and arrogant? In the end, you're still my mistress. Bei Xiaoman let out a soft humph. Her eyes were filled with joy. Now, Ning Fan had become her follower and she could order him around at will. She did not seem to realize what it meant to be a mistress. My lady. Young Master Zhou. He has taken away almost all the spiritual herbs above 1,000 years old in the 4 pill towers. Many guest pill refinement masters can't use them even if they want to concoct pills. What did you say? Bei Xiaoman stopped munching on the melon seeds. She realized that she had suffered a huge loss. The spiritual herbs in the 4 pill towers were at least worth billions of immortal jade. Yet, they were all taken away just like that. Those spiritual herbs were enough to supply hundreds of 3rd revolution and tens of 4th revolution cultivators to concoct pills. Zhou Ming. You're a bully. You're shameless. Bei Xiaoman disregarded everything and rushed out of the southern tower. She ran to the center of the silver tower and pointed at it while cursing. If she knew that Ning Fan was going to take away all the spiritual herbs in her possession, she would not have said anything about being his mistress. Revenge. She must take revenge on him. That's right. Didn't I already keep him as my mistress? If that's the case, I will teach him a good lesson on the day he walks out of the Lost World Tower. I will let him know who is the follower and who is the master. Speaking of which, what do I need to do after keeping Zhou Ming as my mistress? Do I need him to massage my legs or my shoulders? She had yet to realize that she would have to sacrifice her chastity to keep him as her mistress. On the 5th floor of the Lost World Tower, Ning Fan stood between the mountains and the rivers. He was not in a hurry to open up his immortal cave. He raised his head and looked at the sky thoughtfully. The Lost World Tower in the lower world was a silver tower. There were only 7 floors which corresponded to the 7 realms of the cultivation world. The 5th floor was still fine, but the 6th and 7th floors had a strict restriction on one's cultivation base. Only divine transformation realm cultivators could enter. Each floor had countless independent spaces for people to cultivate in. Currently, Ning Fan was on the 5th floor. Below the spatial barrier was the 4th floor. Above the spatial barrier above his head was the 6th floor. To ordinary cultivators without void refinement realm cultivation base, they would definitely not be able to enter the 6th floor. However, was Ning Fan an ordinary cultivator? His body swayed and at the next moment, he appeared at the peak of the sky. A trace of golden-purple mist lingered in the air and brushed against the spatial barrier. Immediately, a sizzling sound was heard and the spatial barrier was eroding at a slow speed. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a gap appeared in the spatial barrier. Ning Fan then leaped into the 6th floor. The world of the 6th floor was not filled with green mountains and clear waters but a starry sky. The place where Ning Fan was standing right now was a star with a radius of 100,000 li. The power of the void around Ning Fan tilted down, as if it was going to kill him. At the same time, a trace of void power rose around his body. Ning Fan was a cultivator who had attained the void inquiry stage after all. Thus, he was naturally not afraid of this level of void power. Sensing that the time in this place was slowed down by 64 times, Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. No wonder Lu Qing said that one can't enter the 6th and 7th floors unless their cultivation base is strong enough. It turns out that the 6th and 7th floors are fundamentally different from the 5th floor. I wonder if my void power can withstand the void of the 7th floor. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He stepped on the star and rose into the air. When he reached the peak of the void, he pointed at the mist again and broke a gap, entering the 7th floor. In the 7th floor, the flow of time was one of 128 times faster than the outside world. The void power in this place gave Ning Fan an extremely dangerous feeling. Even a void refinement realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. Moreover, in this level of void power, teleportation techniques would not be able to cover any distance at all. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out 2 magic treasures. One of them was the Eastern Ocean Bell. When this bell was suspended above Ning Fan's head, no void power could harm it. The other one was the Star Compass. This compass was given to him by the Black Tortoise Planet's Palm Tablet Immortal Emperor. It was a supreme treasure for cultivators to travel through the void. From Ning Fan's current point of view, the void was probably also divided into different levels. Divine Transformation Realm cultivators might not necessarily die if they enter the slightly weaker void, and Void Refinement Realm cultivators could also travel through it with ease. However, in places where the void power was stronger, those below the Void Fragmentation Realm would definitely die. Teleportation techniques could not be used to fly in this place. Only the Star Compass could do that. Ning Fan took out the Star Compass. The palm-sized compass immediately turned into a 10,000 zhang large silver continent. Ning Fan leaped onto the continent and made a hand seal. Then, the continent moved through the void at an unbelievable speed. Its speed was even faster than ordinary Void Refinement Realm cultivators. It was at least a mid-Void Refinement Realm cultivator. This star compass is indeed a good item. Ning Fan traveled through the void of the 7th floor and found a star that had a radius of 1 million li and landed on it. The uneven ground did not have any signs of life. However, Ning Fan did not mind it at all. The sword chi at the tip of his finger swayed and an underground cave dwelling was opened up beneath his feet. Let's cultivate here. Ning Fan walked into the underground cave. At the moment when he completely entered the cave dwelling, he suddenly raised his head with a strange expression. The purple star in his left eye flashed and he looked at the sky with a strange expression. Why do I feel like there's an 8th floor in this Lost World tower? Is it an illusion? Chapter 374. Inside the star cave dwelling, Ning Fan once again returned to his solitary life. A year in the outside world was equivalent to 128 years in this place. What Ning Fan requested from Lu Qin was to stay in the Lost World Tower for a year. In other words, he still needed to stay in this place for another 128 years. The Lost World Tower did not allow anyone to enter, so there were fewer noises around them. 5,884 units of magic power, 71,440 units of demonic energy, 83,470 units of demonic energy, the shortcoming of magic power must be made up for. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a large number of profound primordial pills. Profound Essence Pill was concocted for peak stage nascent soul cultivators to increase their magic power. It was a peak stage 4th revolution pill, and one pill could increase one's magic power by 1 unit. He only had 1290 Profound Essence Pills in his possession. The market price of a Profound Essence Pill should be around 100,000 immortal jade. In just 10 days, Ning Fan consumed and refined all of the pills that were worth more than 100 million immortal jade. His magic power was 6,940 units. It was 234 units less than expected. This was naturally because he had consumed too many elixirs, and the medicinal effects were getting weaker. Ning Fan did not care about it at all. He had plundered countless spiritual herbs from the Sea of Stars and taken away all of Bei Xiaoman's belongings openly. The 1,000-years-old spiritual herbs he had were more than enough to concoct a few thousand profound primordial pills. Inside the Immortal's cave, Ning Fan clenched his 5 fingers. His body shone with green light and a massive rain cauldron was condensed in front of him with the divine intent of rain. His pill refinement technique was already at the intermediate grade 5 revolution, and his flame was a fusion of 9 types of heavenly frost and earthly fire. He only needed 3 days to refine a cauldron of Shenyuan pills, and he could refine 10 pills in one cauldron. One should know that this was a peak 4th revolution pill. Even a low-grade 5th revolution pill refinement master would not dare to guarantee success in every cauldron. Moreover, they could only refine 1 pill at most. Ning Fan had a strong pill refinement mastery. His spirit sense perception and control over fire were also outstanding. Besides, his luck was the strongest purple color. With his strength and luck, if he still failed to refine the Mystic Essence Pill, he would really have to find a piece of tofu to kill himself. If he refined 100 pills in a month, it would be 1,200 pills in a year. As time went by, Ning Fan could even refine 13 to 14 Profound Essence Pills in a single cauldron. 6 years later, Ning Fan had concocted 8,000 Profound Essence Pills and he no longer concocted this pill. So many elixirs were enough to create a semi-god realm cultivator. Even a peak 4th revolution pill refinement master would not have the wealth to concoct 8,000 peak 4th revolution pills. Even if one had sufficient wealth, one could only refine 1 Profound Essence Pill after 4 cycles and half a month, and there was no guarantee of success. If he wanted to refine 8,000 Profound Essence Pills, he would need at least 300 years even if he did not sleep or rest. 6 years of hard work was equivalent to 300 years of cultivation for ordinary pill refinement masters. However, Ning Fan helplessly realized that the improvement of his pill refinement mastery was not obvious at all. His mid-grade 5th revolution medicine soul was already dark green in color. At this moment, about 1% of the soul light in Ning Fan's medicine soul had darkened. If Ning Fan is able to use all of the remaining soul light on his body, he would be able to break through to the high-grade 5th revolution pill refinement realm. Putting aside his pill refinement mastery for the time being, with 8,000 profound primordial pills, Ning Fan temporarily had to live a life of munching on beans for 4 whole months. One had to admit that Ning Fan's resistance to the profound primordial pill was getting stronger and stronger. At first, 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills could increase one's magic power by 650 units. The next 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills only increased by 520 units. Later on, 1,000 Mystic Essence Pills could only increase his magic power by 450 units. 420 units, 330 units, 290 units, and then 240 units. In the end, 1,000 Mystic Essence pills could only increase Ning Fan's magic power by 50 units. It was because consuming Mystic Essence pills was almost completely useless in the end. Ning Fan shook his head with a bitter smile. He was probably the first person in the Rain world who had consumed Mystic Essence pills until they were completely ineffective. 8,000 Mystic Essence pills increased his magic power by 2,950 units. At least, Ning Fan's magic power had reached 9,890 units. During the past 4 months, after consuming Mystic Essence pills, Ning Fan's magic power had also become weak. He no longer consumed any pills. Instead, he took out countless spirit flames to refine and devour them. A small portion of these spirit flames were given to him by the cultivators of the external endless sea. The rest of them were obtained from Flame Reverend. There were nearly 1,000 3rd-grade spirit flames, 200 4th-grade spirit flames and 3 earth vein demonic flames. The 3 types of earth vein demonic flames were respectively the corrosive poison flame which was ranked 12th, the profound thunder flame which was ranked 9th and the 7 rainbow flame which was ranked 4th. Ning Fan's eyes were burning with passion as he looked at the balls of flames floating in front of him. Refining these flames could not only increase the destructive power of his fire technique but also increased the speed of pill refinement. Besides, it could also replenish the fire power of the steel soul in the steel of sun and moon during the refining process. Swallow. Black flames swirled around Ning Fan's body. He opened his mouth and inhaled. Clusters of floating spiritual flames were all sucked into his mouth. These flames were almost all the reserves of the cultivators in the outer endless sea. The refinement took a total of 9 months. 9 months later, Ning Fan's magic power forcefully broke through the bottleneck of the divine transformation realm with the help of the fire attribute and broke through to 14,200 units. In his dantian, the demon soul slowly turned into a primordial spirit. The primordial spirit was as big as a palm but it had the same appearance as him. Its small face was also filled with joy. Dermic powers, soul formation. The moment he succeeded in becoming a soul formation cultivator, silver fire fell from the sky. It was the heavenly tribulation after becoming a soul formation cultivator, the fire tribulation. Ning Fan let out a sigh. It seemed like he did not have the blood lightning of the heavenly tribulation to refine his lightning whip anymore. However, he could still use it to replenish the firepower of his steel of sun and moon. Without hesitation, he opened his mouth and swallowed the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation. All of them were devoured by the steel of sun and moon while he remained unscathed. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of murky qi and rose to his feet. His aura swept across the area, causing the entire cave to collapse. Black flames were burning around his body. These black flames gave off a dangerous qi. There were 5 types of heavenly frost cold qi and 7 types of earth vein demonic flames. Even though he did not collect 12 types of ice and fire respectively, he finally managed to gather 12 types of fire and ice together. At this moment, the black flames leaping on his palm gave Ning Fan an extremely dangerous feeling. The grade of this flame was at least comparable to a 7th grade immortal void flame. Only void fragmentation realm fire cultivators could control this flame. Due to the limitation of Ning Fan's cultivation realm, he could not fully unleash the power of this flame. However, by relying on the power of this flame, he could totally force void glimpse stage old monsters to retreat when he activates it. This flame seemed to be his 4th trump card other than the Black Tempest spirit splitting technique, wind mist and wind snow. It could lightly injure a void refinement realm cultivator or severely injure a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. It could even instantly kill a peak divine transformation realm cultivator. Moreover, after Ning Fan devoured so many flames, the soul of the steel of sun and moon in the profound Yin world had already been replenished to 1/3 of its original capacity. Ning Fan gently exhaled a mouthful of murky qi and dispersed the flames on his body. His divine, demon and devil power had all broken through to the divine transformation realm at the same time. His strength had increased tremendously and his chi had also become weak. After refining a large amount of pills, he managed to condense his chi again after exhausting it over and over again. He no longer concocted fourth revolution pills. Instead, he concocted fifth revolution pills. Fifth revolution pills were extremely different from fourth revolution pills. The difficulty of concocting fifth revolution pills was increased and the medicinal efficacy of the pills was also greatly increased. With Ning Fan's current pill concoction technique and the black flames, he still needed half a month to concoct a low-grade fifth revolution pill. As for mid-grade fifth revolution pills, he would need at least 3 months to concoct them. Moreover, he could not guarantee the success rate. For 10 whole years, Ning Fan had been concocting a type of low-grade fifth revolution pill called spirit consolidating pill. As the name suggested, the effect of the spirit consolidating pill was to consolidate one's primordial spirit. Its main ingredients were the moistening heart grass, conforming spirit leaves and round harmony ganoderma which could nourish one's primordial spirit. Ning Fan had obtained a lot of these spiritual herbs from the Lost World Palace. Compared to asking Yulong to collect them, it was obviously faster to transport them from the Lost World Palace. Within 10 years, Ning Fan had concocted a total of 225 spirit consolidating pills. His success rate was around 90%. Among these 225 spirit consolidating pills, 18 of them had been infused with the golden blood of the demon marshal. 18 drops of golden blood contained 3600 monster force, which, after being transformed by the pill, could be used to increase one's strength. After 10 years of concocting pills, Ning Fan's magic power became solid again. He only consumed the spirit consolidating pill that contained the demon blood. As for the other 207 pills, he left them for Luo Yu to use to stabilize her primordial spirit. Originally, 18 drops of golden blood were only enough to increase his magic power by 3600 units. However, after concocting the pills, the power of the demon blood was absorbed more thoroughly. Ning Fan's magic power increased by nearly 5000 units. Magic power, 19,060 units. With the increase of his magic power and the stabilization of his primordial spirit, Ning Fan's breathing became longer and longer. Then, he began to concoct the mid-grade fifth revolution pill, Thunder Profound Pill. To divine transformation realm cultivators, this kind of pill was extremely expensive. A single pill was worth 5 million immortal jade. Its effect was to increase an early divine transformation realm cultivator's magic power by 100 units. To ordinary cultivators, the opportunity to consume this pill was naturally expensive. However, to pill refinement masters, they could save a lot of money by preparing their own spiritual herbs and concocting the pills themselves. The cost of a single pill was only around 1 million immortal jade. To Ning Fan, the cost was even lower. His spiritual herbs were basically snatched and brought over. Who had ever seen Ning Fan buying pills properly? To Ning Fan, the significance of immortal jade had always been for cultivation, setting up formations and increasing the power of the star positioning compass. He rarely used money to buy things. At least in the Endless Sea and the Luoyun tribe, he did not need to care about anything. Strength was everything. To concoct the Profound Thunder Pill, Ning Fan needed 3 months to concoct a cauldron of pills and he could only concoct 1 pill at a time. In the first 5 years, Ning Fan only concocted 5 Profound Essence pills. His success rate was less than 30%. In another 5 years, Ning Fan concocted 8 Profound Essence pills. His success rate had reached 40%. In another 10 years, Ning Fan concocted 21 Profound Essence pills. His success rate had already exceeded 50%. In another 20 years, Ning Fan concocted 62 Profound Essence pills. His success rate was close to 80%. After 40 years of concocting pills, Ning Fan had already used up all the medicinal herbs he needed to concoct the profound essence pills. The area on his medicine soul that had deepened to almost half of its original color had already darkened. In 40 years, Ning Fan concocted 96 profound essence pills. The improvement in his pill refinement mastery was not insignificant. He was becoming more and more like a grandmaster. Among the mid-5th revolution pill refinement masters in the Rain world, there were less than 3 people who could increase their success rate to 80%. Ning Fan was one of them. It took Ning Fan 5 months to completely refine the 96 profound essence pills. 5 months later, Ning Fan's magic power had reached 28,320 units. The 340 units that he had lost was due to his medicinal resistance. His magic power became weak again. Ning Fan spent another 10 years concocting many 5th revolution healing pills to stabilize his magic power. Counting carefully, it had already been 67 years and 6 months since he entered the Lost World Tower. More than half of the time had passed. In the remaining time, Ning Fan focused his attention on his sea of consciousness, spirit sense and sword intent. The 17 intent severing pills were consumed one by one. Each of them was enough to make a divine transformation realm sword cultivator go crazy. In the end, all of them ended up in Ning Fan's mouth. As the pills were refined, the 4,700 nascent soul realm sword chi in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness were also refined. His sword intent was stable. His sword intent was at small accomplishment. His sword intent was at grand accomplishment. 3 years later, the sword intent around Ning Fan's body was at least a few times stronger than 3 years ago. The remnant force of the broken immortal trapping sword was completely refined. His sword sense became even more stable. The current strength of Ning Fan's sword sense was not any weaker than Yen Zun's fire sense. He could instantly kill anyone below the divine transformation realm. As for early divine transformation realm experts, he could also severely injure them. When his sword sense swept across, the blood of the enemy cultivators would definitely flow like a river. However, his sword sense was just a means to eliminate small fries. If he were to fight against a half-step void refinement realm expert with just his sword techniques, he would not have much chance of winning. The secret swords of the Sword Sovereign were becoming less and less useful because the grade of these secret swords was too low. Ning Fan pondered for a while. There were several divine transformation realm sword techniques in his storage pouch, but none of them caught his attention. His mind kept pondering and suddenly, an idea flashed across his mind. He thought of the Eastern Profound Sword Formation on the Yingzhou Immortal Island. Since he had the Heart Formation technique, why didn't he use the sword formation to kill his enemies? The Eastern Profound Sword Formation was a peak divine transformation realm sword formation. After Ning Fan modified it, the number of formation eyes had exceeded 5,000 and it had become a mortal void sword formation. The purpose of modifying the sword formation was to use the heart formation technique to lay down a formation with magic power to kill his enemies. The River Luo heart formation could form a grand formation with just a single thought of his. If Ning Fan successfully cultivates the heart formation of the Eastern Profound Sword Formation, he would undoubtedly have another method to fight against a half-step void refinement realm expert. The heart formation technique was affected by his cultivation base, spirit sense, Tao of formations and many other factors. However, by relying on his profound sword intent, Ning Fan was barely able to condense a sword formation. As for the other formations, they were slightly inferior. Condense. Ning Fan began his boring cultivation and condensed sword chi of the heart formation technique. After the modification of the Eastern Profound Sword Formation, there were 5,000 formation eyes. In total, he needed to condense 5,000 traces of natal sword chi. Within 10 years, Ning Fan condensed the swords while comprehending the formation. His cultivation base in the Tao of formations improved tremendously and he had a deep understanding of the Tao of formations. 10 years later, Ning Fan's sword chi was abundant. He walked out of his cave residence and pointed at a star which had a radius of 10,000 li. All of a sudden, sword mountains appeared out of thin air in all directions of the star. There was a total of 5,000 sword mountains. In each of the sword mountains, there was rarely any sword chi that was comparable to a peak nascent soul realm attack. The sword chi formed a formation. In the void, a massive sword diagram unfurled like a scroll, engulfing the star within it. At the next moment, the sword light inside the sword diagram overflowed in all directions like a broken silver bottle. In an instant, it engulfed the entire star. Boom! As the sword formation was activated, the sword light let out a piercing cry and the entire star was destroyed. The wind of the explosion swept across the entire void space. Once this sword formation was activated, even a half-step void refinement realm expert would be in grave danger if he or she falls into the formation. Ning Fan nodded his head in satisfaction. In this case, he had one more trump card. There were still 50 years left. Ning Fan decided to refine the immemorial divine weapon. The Separation Slayer sword was naturally inscribed with the word sharp. Each word would have 312 strokes. With Ning Fan's current magic power, he could inscribe 600 words of the word sharp in a day. In just 1 year, he had inscribed 180,000 words of the word sharp on the Separation Slayer sword. The Separation Slayer sword was a peak-grade spiritual treasure. It had the Mortal Void-grade soul-burning ability attached to it. The Spirit-Shattering Whip, on the other hand, was inscribed with the word lightning. Another year had passed. The Spirit-Shattering Whip had also reached the grade of a peak-grade spiritual treasure. It had the Mortal Void-grade absorption technique and the Mortal Void-grade lightning spirit attached to it. Unlike the Separation Slayer sword and the Spirit-Shattering Whip, the star-fixing plate did not require any additional spirit seals. With a thought, Ning Fan took out a handful of blood-red star sand. It was none other than the immemorial divine weapon he obtained from revered flame, blood star sand. This handful of star sand was already a peak-grade spiritual treasure. After attaching 180,000 words of the word suppress to it, it was equivalent to a half-step void treasure. It was a pity that this handful of star sand which had been refined by revered flame for many years had become his fourth immemorial divine weapon. In 3 years, he had refined 3 divine weapons. Now, he no longer refined any magic treasures. He held 2 jade slips in his hands which recorded 2 types of magic techniques. One of them was the 5 burial dragon technique. It was obtained by killing the city lord of Dragon Burial City when he was traveling across the Sea of Stars. The strongest aspect of this technique was that it could seal one's primordial spirit and demon soul. It could be used to attack cultivators who have incarnated. The second technique was the Samadhi Fire Palm. It was a technique that the Rain Palace bestowed upon him by revered flame. It was at the mortal void realm and there was no need to mention its destructive power. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's fire resistance, he would definitely not be able to withstand this technique easily. Thousands of cultivation methods and magic techniques were echoing in his mind. All of them were practiced by the women he had plucked. Ning Fan sat on the star compass with the Eastern Ocean bell above his head. He traveled across the void space and studied many magic techniques. 30 years passed just like that. There were still 17 years left before he would leave the Lost World Tower. In the next 7 years, Ning Fan used several types of spiritual herbs to grind their medicinal liquid and cleanse his left eye, trying to increase the illusory power of the Fu Li eye. As such, there were only 10 years left before he would leave. During this year, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head. The Fu Li eye in his left eye shone with bright purple light. It seemed like he had broken through a small bottleneck. After improving his eyesight, Ning Fan lifted his head and his expression suddenly changed. After being cleansed for 7 years, his Fu Li eye had improved tremendously. This time, he could clearly see that there was an 8th floor in this Lost World Tower. The Lost World Tower of Penglai Immortal Island clearly only has 7 floors. Why would there be an 8th floor? What exactly is on the 8th floor? Ning Fan stepped on the star compass. The entire silver continent rose rapidly towards the peak of the void space. It only stopped when it hit a barrier. He touched the barrier with his palm. He did not immediately break the barrier. Instead, he activated his left eye to its limit, trying to see through the 8th floor to see what was inside. With his powerful eyesight, Ning Fan could vaguely see that there was a dark pavilion above the 8th floor. It was not particularly spacious. It was merely 10,000 zhang in size. There were hundreds of ancient statues standing in the pavilion. They protected 7 stone platforms like stars surrounding the moon. Each of the 7 stone platforms was enshrined with a piece of golden crystal. The crystal gave off a strange energy as if it had the ability to reverse time. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He finally realized what was above the 8th floor. The 8th floor was not set up for cultivators to cultivate. Instead, it was a place to enshrine the crystal. It was those 7 pieces of crystal that had reversed the flow of time on the 7th floor of the Lost World Tower. What exactly are these crystals? Ning Fan's eyes were burning with passion. He did not know what the crystals were, but he deeply realized that they were probably extremely precious. Should I steal one and have a look? This thought immediately grew in Ning Fan's mind. Chapter 375. As soon as this thought popped up in his mind, he could not extricate himself from it. Even though Ning Fan did not know what the 7 pieces of crystals were, he could guess that they were powerful enough to reverse the flow of time in the Lost World Palace. The value of those crystals was enough to shake the entire Rain world. No, it was even more valuable. The crystals gave Ning Fan a feeling that the power contained within them was supreme, just like the power of samsara. It was definitely not something that he could touch. Because it was untouchable, it further proved that these crystals were a great opportunity. Ning Fan placed his palm on the spatial barrier in front of him, estimating the possibility of breaking it. The spatial barrier between the 7th floor and the 8th floor was built to prevent void fragmentation realm cultivators from passing through. Its sturdiness was enough to defend against the attacks of any void fragmentation realm old monsters. Even though Ning Fan had the wind mist finger which allowed him to borrow a trace of samsara power, he would not be able to melt this spatial barrier without several years of hard work. Ning Fan's wind mist finger was enough to break an immortal void realm grand formation. Even he found it difficult to break it. Ordinary void fragmentation realm old monsters would not be able to enter the 8th floor at all. In the Rain world, no one could steal the 7 pieces of crystals. Ning Fan's mind raced. He still had 10 years to stay in this place. It would not be difficult for him to spend a few years to break the barrier. However, will there be other dangers in the 8th floor? It would be unreasonable if the 7 pieces of crystals were placed here without any protection. Purple light flashed in Ning Fan's left eye. After a long time, he confirmed that there was no protective formation on the 8th floor. His eyes scanned across the hundreds of ancient statues and he seemed to be deep in thought. These statues seemed to be decorations. However, are they really just decorations? No. That's not right. Ning Fan bit the tip of his tongue and sacrificed a mouthful of blood essence to strengthen his Fuli eye. This time, he could vaguely see the internal structure of the statue that was closest to him through the spatial barrier. It was not a statue. All of these statues were puppets that were in a sealed state. Besides, if Ning Fan was not mistaken, each of the puppets here was a void refinement realm being. Ning Fan could not help but be shocked by the generosity of the Lost World Palace. There were hundreds of void refinement realm puppets in the Lost World Tower. Even if a void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain world managed to enter the 8th floor, even a void fragmentation realm old monster might not be able to withstand the joint attacks of hundreds of void refinement realm experts. When he thought of this, he suddenly fell into silence. His fiery emotions gradually calmed down. He could imagine that once he enters the 8th floor and takes away the crystal, all of the spiritual puppets would be alerted, causing them to release their seals. At that time, there would be hundreds of Void Refinement Realm puppets attacking him at the same time. It would be difficult to guarantee his survival. Was it not worth it to take such a huge risk for this unknown crystal? Even if Ning Fan obtained this crystal, it would be impossible for him to use the crystal to reverse time without the formation of the Lost World Tower. However, Ning Fan could vaguely feel the enormous energy coming from the crystal. If I can devour one piece. Even if it's only one piece, Ning Fan was confident that his magic power could break through to the mid-divine transformation realm. Once all three of his powers reached the mid-divine transformation realm at the same time and combine them into one, it would not be difficult for him to break through to the late divine transformation realm. There was even a sliver of a chance for him to reach the peak of the soul formation stage. The opportunity was right in front of him, but along with the great opportunity came great risks. Ning Fan struggled in his heart. He looked at the 7 stone platforms and pondered. What are the chances of me stealing the crystal? Looking at the hundreds of puppets, Zhang Xian counted silently. There were a total of 343 puppets in this batch. Among them, each of the 49 puppets seemed to be responsible for guarding the crystal on one of the stone platforms. Does this mean that if Ning Fan only takes away one piece of crystal, he would only be attacked by 49 puppets? With that thought in mind, the risk seemed to have been reduced to 1/7 of the original risk. If there are only 49 Void Refinement Realm puppets attacking me, I might be able to fight. I also have a large number of spiritual puppets with me. Among them, there are even 3 Void Refinement Realm puppets. These puppets might be able to stop me for a while. However, if they are attacked by 49 Void Refinement Realm puppets, they will definitely be severely damaged. The puppets guarding the 7 stone platforms are the same. However, the 7 pieces of crystal correspond to the 7 floors of the Lost World Tower. The flow of time on the 7 floors is different. I'm afraid that the energy contained in the crystals is also different. The crystal that is responsible for slowing down the flow of time on the 7th floor must be the strongest one. If I only take away one piece of crystal, I naturally want to take the strongest one. However, if I steal this crystal, it will definitely cause the 7th floor to lose the effect of time cultivation. However, this is also the benefit of taking away the crystal of the 7th floor. The probability of being discovered is the lowest if I take away the crystal of the 7th floor. After all, the 7th floor is a floor that only Void Fragmentation Realm experts can enter. However, Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain World rarely come to the Lost World Tower to cultivate. Naturally, no one will notice that the effect of time slowing has disappeared. Even if there is a loophole in the plan and some Void Fragmentation Realm expert discovers it, causing the 7th floor to lose its effect of cultivation, it will still be something that will happen many years later. Who would be able to guess that I'm the one who stole the crystal? Even if they can guess it, I'm afraid that I would already have the strength of a Void Refinement Realm expert or even a Void Fragmentation Realm expert by then. Moreover, I have a close relationship with the Lost World Palace. Why would the Lost World Palace hold me responsible for a piece of crystal of the Silver Tower in the lower world? This crystal is certainly precious in my eyes. However, in the eyes of those immortals, it's probably not worth mentioning. The puppets guarding the crystal are only at the Void Refinement Realm. This is the biggest proof. If this crystal is enough to make immortals drool over it, the Lost World Palace would naturally be worried that some immortals would come to the lower world to steal the crystal. Thus, the puppets that they set up would not just be at the Void Refinement Realm. Hundreds of thoughts flashed across Ning Fan's mind as he weighed the pros and cons. What seemed to be an extremely bold action gradually became feasible after various analyses. He had many spiritual puppets and the star positioning plate. At the moment when he takes away the crystal of the 7th floor, he would immediately turn around and flee. With the help of the spiritual puppets, his chances of successfully escaping would be at least 50%. If his speed is a little faster and attains the void refinement realm, he could use a self-damaging secret technique to further increase his speed. Then, his chances of successfully stealing the crystal would increase by at least 10%. Ning Fan stretched out his fully purple wings and calculated inwardly. If he engraved 180,000 spirit seals on his wings, it would not be difficult for him to advance from the half-step void refinement realm to the void refinement realm. 60% is still a little low. However, I still have the morning life imprisoning technique which specializes in restraining all kinds of spiritual puppets. Even though I can't subdue the void refinement realm's spiritual puppets with my current cultivation level, I should be able to stop the puppets for a while and make them lose their senses for a moment. In this case, my chances of success are 70%. 70% chance of success. It's worth it to gamble on the chance of attaining the peak divine transformation realm. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. He had already made up his mind to steal the crystal of the 7th floor. What he needed to be wary of was the secret technique of the Lost World Palace's puppet fusion. If the 49 void refinement realm's spiritual puppets fuse into a void fragmentation realm spiritual puppet, it would be difficult for Ning Fan to escape. Once he discovers that the spiritual puppets are showing signs of fusion, he must immediately interfere with them using magic techniques. A thorough, bold and slightly crazy plan gradually took shape in Ning Fan's mind. There are countless choices in life. If one makes a wrong choice, his entire clan will be wiped out. However, if one is afraid of everything and runs away from everything, he will never have the chance to be superior to others. If the odds of success are high, it will be an opportunity. If the odds of success are low, it will be a risk. Ning Fan began to make thorough preparations. In the first year, he engraved 180,000 spirit seals with the word speed on his fully wings, allowing his maximum speed to break through the early void refinement realm. In the second year, Ning Fan spent 500 million immortal jade to ignite all 30,000 star lamps in the star positioning plate and activated its strongest defense. In the third year, Ning Fan took out 25 divine transformation realm spiritual puppets, the black dragon refined corpse and 3 void refinement realm spiritual puppets. He carefully repaired the damage of all the spiritual puppets to ensure that they were in their peak condition. From the 4th year to the 7th year, Ning Fan continuously eroded the spatial barrier of the 8th level with his wind mist finger. The barrier which was strong enough to defend against void fragmentation realm attacks gradually cracked under his relentless attacks. The barrier leading to the 8th level became thinner and thinner. On a certain day, it became as thin as a piece of paper which could be broken with a single poke. Ning Fan kept his wind mist finger. He only needed to take a light step and he would be able to completely cross the barrier and enter the space of the 8th level. Once he enters, he would have to face a huge gamble where he had a 70% chance of success and a 30% chance of death. Even with Ning Fan's cold and indifferent personality, he felt slightly nervous. However, it was not a bad thing. An appropriate amount of nervousness could make one more focused. With the star positioning plate in his hand and the 29 refined spiritual puppets following behind him, Ning Fan took a deep breath and stepped into the space of the 8th level with a single step. His forehead was slightly covered with beads of sweat. His footsteps were filled with probing. If this first step leads to any unforeseen events, he would immediately take a step back and return to the 7th level to be safe. Dong, the sound of Ning Fan's footsteps reverberated in the 10,000 zhang. Spacious palace. However, it did not lead to any attacks. Judging from the situation, Ning Fan was safe until he touched the crystal. After his body completely passed through the barrier, Ning Fan became 200% vigilant. He carefully observed his surroundings and walked towards one of the 7 stone platforms. The crystal on that stone platform had the strongest energy fluctuation. That crystal was the treasure which could slow down time in the 7th level. Standing in front of the stone platform, Ning Fan gently flapped his fully wings. He was ready to retreat and escape back to the 7th level at any time. His palm was just half an inch away from touching the crystal. If there are no disturbances in the 10,000 Zhang Palace, Ning Fan could escape in an instant. After this instant, he might live or die. At this moment, Ning Fan could still regret his decision and retreat. However, if he runs away, this opportunity to break through to the peak divine transformation realm would vanish like smoke in thin air. Every step above the divine transformation realm was extremely difficult. Ning Fan would not have the chance to encounter a crystal-grade treasure which he could use to break through to the next level every time. If I gamble, I would have a 30% chance of dying. If I don't gamble, what cultivation base would I use to fight against Moksha Sovereign after 10 years? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination and he muttered to himself. Even if I only have 60%, 50%, or even 40% chance, I still want to gamble. I can't let my master be hurt by that evil disciple again. Ding! Ning Fan's fingertip touched the crystal. When the crystal touched the stone platform, a faint sound was heard. At the moment when the sound was heard, Ning Fan grabbed the crystal and flapped his wings without hesitation. He flew towards the passage of space that was 1 zhang away and fled at full speed. At the same time, the seals on the 49 statues that were guarding the stone platform were broken after countless years of silence. They regained their ability to move. At this moment, the 49 spiritual puppets emitted void refinement realm aura force. All of their killing intent locked onto Ning Fan. Seal. The 49 spiritual puppets uttered the same word in unison. 49 traces of void power turned into 49 layers of pitch-black gigantic walls, sealing off all of Ning Fan's escape routes. They were not joking around. They really wanted to kill the person who stole the crystal. The person who steals time shall die. That's right. The power contained in those 7 crystals was exactly time. An unprecedented sense of crisis descended upon Ning Fan's body. If he could not escape from the 49 layers of seals, he would be blasted into ashes by the 49 void refinement realm spiritual puppets in the next moment. A thread of life and death. Chapter 376. 49 layers of void walls blocked his path, making it impossible for him to advance or retreat. With 49 void refinement realm seals, almost no one below the void fragmentation realm could escape from them. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. If he doesn't destroy this wall, he will die in an instant. He changed his hand seal and channeled his magic power into the Eastern Ocean bell. The golden bell grew with the wind and with a sudden tremble, it let out a clear and ancient bell sound. Layers of golden sound waves spread out in all directions. All of the spatial seals shattered upon contact with the sound waves. Among the 49 puppets, one of them let out a soft cry of surprise. Clearly, it did not expect Ning Fan to be able to break free from the barrier. Chi! Almost at the moment when he broke through the barrier, Ning Fan pounded his chest and coughed out more than 10 mouthfuls of blood essence. With a flap of his fooly wings, his speed was close to that of a mid-void refinement realm cultivator. As he hurriedly retreated, he barely avoided the 49 layers of void power attacks. However, a sense of horror immediately rose in his heart. That soft sound of surprise didn't escape Ning Fan's ears. He didn't expect that one of the 49 puppets would be a living creature. The 343 puppets guarding this place were definitely the type without intelligence. There was no doubt about it. After all, they were guarding the 7 crystals. If they used sentient puppets, other unforeseen events might occur. However, Ning Fan believed that he did not hear wrongly. There was a puppet. For some unknown reason, it was a living creature. This was definitely an unforeseen event that Ning Fan did not expect. However, it did not hinder him from escaping. With the addition of the 180,000 speed spirit seals and the self-destruction of his blood essence, Ning Fan's speed had already reached its maximum limit. As long as he could stop the group of sea demons for an instant, he would be able to escape. While escaping, Ning Fan made a series of hand seals, commanding the 3 spiritual puppets to protect him. Hei Tang and the dragon corpse were at the second layer of protection, while the other divine transformation realm spiritual puppets formed a circular defensive formation. At the same time, he activated the star fixation plate, spreading out a massive star map. 30,000 star lamps rose and the formation light of the starlight instantly lit up. Ning Fan had spent 500 million immortal jades to activate the light of the star formation. As long as he has enough immortal jades, no one below the mid-void refinement realm would be able to break this formation. Of the 49 void refinement realm puppets, 40 were at the early stage, 7 were at the middle stage, and 2 were at the late stage. Among the 2 late-stage puppets, one of them was the puppet that Qing Yi had seen earlier. Oh! An immemorial divine weapon in the form of a formation. The late nascent soul stage puppet exclaimed in surprise again. Together with the other 48 spatial tempering stage puppets, countless fist projections hurtled toward the starlight, even though the stellar positioning plate was fully activated and its defense was heaven-defying, it could only hold on for a short moment in the face of the swarm sea serpent's attack. When the formation light shattered, Ning Fan felt as if his chest had suffered a heavy blow. The backlash was extremely heavy, but he forced himself to swallow the sweet blood. His eyes were filled with determination. The stone platform was only 10,000 zhang away from the exit. After breaking the barrier of the void and activating the star formation, Ning Fan was now only 3,000 zhang away from the exit. As long as he could escape the last 3,000 feet, he would be able to obtain the time crystal, combine the 3 powers, and reach the peak. Time thief, die. The sea serpent, 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 sea serpent. See if Ning Fan allowed these punches to hit him, he would no longer be able to defend himself even if he had to use all of his spiritual puppets as a meat shield. Morning art, life imprisonment. Puppets of 100 million worlds, none of them have my life, all of them are my life prisoners. 1 finger and your life will be forfeited. Ning Fan's eyes were unprecedentedly focused. This 1 finger, life imprisonment, was his last desperate attack. He must make the group of spiritual puppets lose their focus and stop attacking. His eyes became even more indifferent. Even a true immortal would not be able to have such indifferent eyes. His black hair fluttered without wind. His eyes were as deep as the bottom of a lake. After he pointed his finger, his black hair instantly turned white and his face aged. A ray of cold black moonlight shot out from his finger. At the next moment, a black crescent moon appeared on the faces of the 49 void refinement realm spiritual puppets one after another. Creak. The moment the crescent moon appeared, all of the spiritual puppets lost their focus and stopped the punches. Only the spiritual puppet with spiritual intelligence exclaimed in shock, as if it had seen something unbelievable. Morning art. The morning art of the ancestor emperor of the northern heaven. I didn't see it wrongly. This is definitely the morning art. This spiritual puppet actually recognized the origin of Ning Fan's technique. It was not surprising. If it was under normal circumstances, Ning Fan would not use this technique to its maximum level, let alone use the morning art. In this moment of life and death, all he thought about was how to maximize the power of this technique, not how to hide its origin. With the help of the life-imprisoning finger, Ning Fan flapped his purple wings again and flew to 1,000 zhang away from the exit. Just one more step and he would be able to escape. His opponent was a group of 49 void refinement realm spiritual puppets. Ning Fan's life-imprisoning finger could only stun them for a split second. In the next second, they would attack again with their fists. Ning Fan had used the life-imprisoning finger several times but he had never experienced such a strong side effect like today. His black hair turned white and his face aged. He finally understood why the life imprisonment technique was able to restrain the puppets. This was clearly reducing his own vitality and sealing the life of the puppet. None of the puppets he had dealt with in the past had been at the spatial tempering stage, so there hadn't been such a powerful side effect. His white hair and aged face were the price he had to pay for using this technique. Unless the life force in his body recovers, he would not be able to display the same finger again, let alone use tricks to block the attacks of the puppets. The last 1,000 feet. We must escape. Explode. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. While retreating, he sent out a series of finger shadows. Of the 25 divine transformation realm puppets, 10 were at the early stage, 7 were at the mid stage, 6 were at the late stage, 1 was at the peak and 1 was at the half-step void refinement realm. At this moment, in order to stop the 49 puppets for a moment, Ning Fan did not hesitate and activated the 10 early stage puppets to explode first. Boom! The self-destruction of 10 divine transformation realm puppets was extremely powerful. Even the 49 void refinement realm fist lights were able to block it for an instant. There was still 500 zhang left. Ning Fan's finger seals changed abruptly. This time, he was performing the sacrificial technique of the fusion of the puppets. The other party's 49 spiritual puppets did not show any signs of merging. To Ning Fan, it was a good thing. On the other hand, their own puppets had to be sacrificed, and fused together. The moment Ning Fan made a series of hand seals, the physical bodies of the 7 mid-divine transformation realm spiritual puppets suddenly burst into black flames. At the next moment, they were reduced to ashes. The black light enveloped the body of the half-step void refinement realm puppet. In an instant, the half-step void refinement realm Heiting's cultivation base also rose to the early void refinement realm. There was a slight struggle in his eyes, but a moment later, he revealed a resolute look. After Ning Fan made another hand seal, Heiting, who had just broken through to the early void refinement realm, dashed towards the 49 void refinement realm puppets without any fear of death. He faced the fist lights head-on and self-destructed. At the same time, all the remaining puppets on Ning Fan's side, including the void refinement realm puppets, hurled their fist lights at the 49 puppets. Boom! With the help of the self-destruction of 1 void refinement realm puppet and the combined attack of 3 void refinement realm puppets, the 49 void refinement realm fist lights were forcibly dispersed. The force of the fist lights scattered in all directions in the pavilion. The power of the fist lights was greatly reduced. However, when they swept across the area, Ning Fan's group was hit by the fist lights. All of them were severely injured. The remaining 6 late-stage puppets and 1 peak-stage puppet were all severely injured. The 3 realm beast puppets only suffered light injuries. As for Ning Fan, his injuries were the worst. His physical body, which was comparable to the 4th level of the Jade Life realm, was immediately severely injured by the fist lights. With the help of the force of the fist lights, Ning Fan led the group of puppets to escape the last 500 zhang. They had escaped. The moment they escaped from the spatial barrier, the 48 puppets chased after them desperately, as if they wanted to snatch the crystal back. As for the puppet with spiritual intelligence, it looked at Ning Fan's direction and sighed with emotion. It seemed like it was extremely difficult to control this puppet's body. Only after it self-destructed could it reach out with its 5 fingers and condense a black jade slip using void power. With a flick of its finger, it shot out to the 8th floor. Together with the jade slip, a silver token was shot out as well. The barrier was closed. As Ning Fan held the golden crystal in his hand, an unbelievable sentence echoed in his ears. "Little friend is truly extraordinary. Even I failed to steal the crystal and was trapped on the 8th floor. However, you succeeded. I'm ashamed. I'm truly ashamed. The younger generation will surpass us in time." Those words were clearly uttered by that puppet with spiritual intelligence. At this moment, Ning Fan finally had the time to carefully ponder about the peculiarity of that puppet. He should not have seen wrongly before. That puppet indeed did not have spiritual intelligence. That puppet with spiritual intelligence was probably not a living being but a primordial spirit of some expert that had attached itself to it. Judging from its words, that expert seemed to have tried to steal the crystal like Ning Fan. However, he did not have heaven-defying techniques like Ning Fan's Eastern Ocean Bell or the life imprisonment technique. Thus, he was trapped here until his death. Who is that person? Ning Fan extended his hand and received the black jade slip. It was given to him by that mysterious expert. After confirming that this jade slip was not a trap, Ning Fan inserted his spirit sense into it. A fragmented memory was imprinted on the jade slip and Ning Fan read it. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's expression became extremely strange. It was because the mysterious expert who was trapped on the 8th floor was none other than the former Rain Sovereign. In the current divine palace of Rain, the Rain Sovereign was the one with the highest seniority. Below him were void fragmentation realm old monsters such as Yuntianjue and Yunbushu. However, the mysterious expert who was trapped on the 8th floor was a senior who was 3 generations older than the current Rain Sovereign. His title was Red Cloud Rain Sovereign. Since the formation of the Rain world, there had been more than 1,000 generations of Rain Sovereigns. However, only those who had broken through to the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and above could be given the title. The current Rain Sovereign did not have a title. That Red Cloud Rain Sovereign's cultivation base was naturally above the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan had been traveling the world. Even though he did not know much about the history of the Rain world, he still knew a little about it. He vaguely heard that the Red Cloud Rain Sovereign who was 3 generations ago had once cultivated in the Lost World Tower. However, he disappeared in the end. Many people guessed that Red Cloud had failed to advance to the next level and died in the Lost World Tower. No one would have thought that the dignified Red Cloud Rain Sovereign would actually do the same thing as Ning Fan, which was to go to the Lost World Tower to steal crystals. Red Cloud did not have Ning Fan's wind mist finger. He used the Sovereign Rain technique in the Lost World Tower. After 100 years in the outside world and 10,000 years in the 7th floor, he only managed to break a hole in the space of the 8th floor. Logically speaking, with his cultivation base at the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it should not be difficult for him to steal just 1 crystal. However, he was much more greedy than Ning Fan. He planned to steal all 7 crystals. As a result, he was surrounded by 343 void refinement realm spiritual puppets because of his carelessness. In the end, his physical body was reduced to ashes. Out of desperation, his primordial spirit forcefully seized the body of one of the void refinement realm spiritual puppets and fused with it. Finally, he managed to escape from the eyes and ears of the spiritual puppets. The pitiful Rain Sovereign of a generation had died in this place without knowing why. Even though his consciousness was still alive, his primordial spirit was too weak. He could not even control the spiritual puppet's body. Being able to give Ning Fan this jade slip was already his best effort. Even Red Cloud Rain Sovereign failed to steal the crystal but Ning Fan succeeded. It was definitely enough for him to be proud of himself. However, Ning Fan could not feel proud of himself. Looking at the golden crystal in his hand, Ning Fan could not help but worry about his gains and losses. Holding this crystal and feeling the enormous energy it contained, Ning Fan was even more convinced that this crystal was enough to help him break through to the peak divine transformation realm. However, in order to obtain this crystal, he had to pay a huge price. He lost 18 divine transformation realm spiritual puppets, including that half-step void refinement realm spiritual puppet. The spiritual puppets suffered different degrees of damage but Ning Fan was the one who suffered the heaviest injuries. His secret technique self-destructed and his injuries were not light. What was more important was that he had lost a large amount of his life force after using the life imprisoning finger. Fortunately, Ning Fan had learned the Black Star healing technique. As long as he recuperates in the Lost World Tower for a year and a half, his injuries would naturally be healed. There were only 3 years left before he had to leave the Lost World Tower. However, as the crystal on the 7th floor was destroyed, the time deceleration effect disappeared. Ning Fan had no choice but to return to the 6th floor to cultivate. 3 years was halved. Now, there was only 1.5 years left. This 1.5 years was barely enough for him to treat his injuries and refine the crystal. Ning Fan could only hope that he would be able to refine the enormous power of the crystal before he leaves. In the space of the 6th floor, Ning Fan reopened his cave dwelling. He summoned the black star and began to treat his injuries. Looking at the black jade slip in his hand, he smiled bitterly. The reason why the Red Cloud Rain Sovereign gave Ning Fan this jade slip was certainly not just to tell him a story. At the end of the jade slip, there was a request. She hoped that Ning Fan would bring the news that she was still alive to the Rain Palace so that they could come and rescue her. Hong Yun did not expect Ning Fan to rescue her. With Ning Fan's Divine Transformation Realm cultivation base, it was already difficult for him to enter the 8th floor once. If he were to enter again, he was afraid that he would be attacked by the spiritual puppets even if he did not steal the crystal. After all, the spiritual puppets had already remembered his chi. Ning Fan did not have the intention to steal the second crystal. He also did not have the strength to rescue Hong Yun. Therefore, Hong Yun only asked Ning Fan to bring the news that she was still alive back to the Rain Palace and promised him great benefits. She also said that she was willing to give Ning Fan anything as long as he manages to escape. At the end of the Jade Slip, there was also the highest level cultivation method of the Rain Palace, the Sovereign Rain Primordial Technique. It was the strongest cultivation method of the Rain Palace. Only the Rain Sovereigns of each generation could cultivate it. Even the Divine Sons could only cultivate the surface of it. After Ning Fan examined it, he found that there was nothing unusual about this cultivation method. Hong Yun did not alter the cultivation method to plot against him. Hong Yun gave Ning Fan the strongest cultivation method of the Rain Palace in order to gain his favor. She hoped that Ning Fan would save her. Together with this cultivation method, there was also a silver token that was lost along with Hong Yun, the Rain Sovereign's token. Hong Yun died in the Lost World Tower. However, when the other Void Fragmentation Realm experts entered the Lost World Tower, they could not find any of the relics left behind by the Divine Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign's token was the symbol of the Divine Sovereign's identity. It also had a special function that only the Divine Sovereign knew. Since the token was lost, the Rain Palace naturally suspected that the Lost World Tower was the one who hid it. On second thought, perhaps Hong Yun's death was also caused by the Lost World Tower. As a result, almost no Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain Palace came to the Lost World Tower to cultivate. Even Void Refinement Realm experts were extremely rare. This was an old grudge. In the entire Rain world, perhaps only Ning Fan knew that this so-called old grudge was just Hong Yun's own doing. She only had herself to blame for dying on the 8th floor after stealing the time crystal of the Lost World Tower. Even Ning Fan had prepared for the worst before entering the 8th floor. Once he dies, he could only blame himself for being unlucky. He could only blame the will of the heavens. He could not blame anyone else. As for Hong Yun's request, after careful consideration, Ning Fan did not decide to help her. What benefits would he get by helping her pass the message to the Rain Palace? If he saves Hong Yun, the Rain Palace would have a second Divine Sovereign. As the saying goes, a mountain cannot have two tigers. Who knows if the current Divine Sovereign would kill Ning Fan, silence him or save him. Even if the current Divine Sovereign was magnanimous and willing to save Hong Yun and give up her position as the Divine Sovereign, how would she treat Ning Fan after breaking free from her tribulation? Hong Yun clearly recognized Ning Fan's life-imprisoning mourning technique. If Hong Yun breaks free from her tribulation, would she kill Ning Fan and repay his kindness with enmity? Since Hong Yun dared to steal the time crystal, she was naturally not a good person like Ning Fan. She might really repay kindness with enmity. Let's put aside Hong Yun's matter for now. If I want to save her now, I will definitely have to take a huge risk. It's not worth it. Speaking of which, not only did I obtain the time crystal, but I also obtained the cultivation method of the divine sovereign of the Rain Palace. I also obtained the lost token of the divine sovereign, the Rain Sovereign's order. My gains are not small. Even if I have to destroy a lot of spiritual puppets, it's still worth it. Ning Fan stared at the crystal in his palm with burning eyes. He wished that he could immediately swallow this crystal and increase his cultivation base. However, he knew that it was still not the right time to improve his cultivation base. Before that, he had to use the power of the black stars to heal his injuries. After keeping the black jade slip, the Rain Sovereign's order and the crystal, Ning Fan closed his eyes without saying a word. 5 black stars appeared in the void above his head. Countless black starlight twirled around his body. His white hair began to turn back to black. His old and wrinkled skin also began to recover. His injuries were slowly easing and healing. Chapter 377. His essence blood was slowly replenished, and his white hair turned black. His appearance was the same as before. After several months of recuperation and under the treatment of the black star which had 5 natal stars, Ning Fan's injuries were completely healed despite how severe they were. Black star's art is indeed profound. Without this art, the injuries I suffered this time aside from the damage to my blood essence, it would have been impossible to recover my vitality. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi and moved his muscles and bones. After making sure that everything was fine, he revealed a satisfied smile. Looking at the golden crystal, Ning Fan no longer hesitated and decided to consume it. This crystal was filled with the power of time, enough to reverse time 100 times. Its energy was so great that it definitely couldn't be consumed in one go. It needed to be tempered with quite a few spirit medicines. This kind of harmonizing technique was rarely mentioned in ancient chaos memories. However, Shiran had mentioned quite a lot of it in the pill art that she had given him. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a jade bowl. He used tens of spiritual herbs to grind them into a medicinal liquid. Then, he soaked the crystal in the medicinal liquid. The crystal emitted faint golden steam and slowly melted into the medicinal liquid. At first, the liquid was dark green in color, but after the crystal melted, it turned into pure gold. Ning Fan lifted the jade bowl. His eyes lit up like torches. He gently took a sip of the medicinal liquid into his stomach and immediately put down the bowl to refine it. Just by drinking a mouthful of the medicinal liquid, he felt as if his entire body was on fire, and his blood was boiling. The heat waves in his body continued to increase, and his skin actually turned red and purple. Ning Fan could not help but feel a little shocked. He was extremely familiar with this kind of situation. It was clearly the sign of one's body exploding after absorbing too much medicinal power. He only drank a mouthful of the medicinal liquid, but this mouthful of medicinal liquid contained at least 10,000 units of magic power, which was equivalent to eating 100 Thunder Xian pills. Even though Ning Fan had achieved 180,000 units of power by combining the 3 forces into one, his immortal veins nearly exploded because of this mouthful of medicinal liquid. Fortunately, even though he had reached the critical point, his body did not explode after all. He still had a sense of propriety about how much medicinal liquid he should be able to refine in one go. Refine. Ning Fan closed his eyes to refine the medicinal liquid, trying his best to absorb the golden power within it. He finally realized that he had completely underestimated the power of the crystal on the 7th floor. 7 days later, Ning Fan absorbed all of the medicinal power and his magic power increased by 11,400 units. He took another big gulp of the medicinal liquid and refined it for 7 days. His magic power increased by 12,200 units. The third mouthful, the fourth, 2 months later, Ning Fan had completely refined all of the medicinal liquid. His magic power had increased by a total of 109,400 units. Consuming the golden crystal did not weaken the medicinal power, nor did it cause his magic power to be unstable. After all, this crystal contained the purest power of time, which could not be compared to medicinal pills. Looking at the sticky medicinal liquid that remained on the jade bowl, Ning Fan licked the bowl clean without caring about his image. His magic power increased by another 500 units. After keeping the jade bowl, Ning Fan examined his body with a fiery gaze. After consuming the crystal, his magical power broke through from 28,320 units to 138,220 units. A single piece of crystal could help Ning Fan increase his magic power by 100,000 units. This item was really heaven-defying. In the void, countless silver fire clouds suddenly appeared, and the fire tribulation rained down. The heavenly tribulation, which was enough to make an ordinary divine transformation realm expert's scalp go numb, was directly swallowed into Ning Fan's stomach, allowing the steel of sun and moon to devour it. After looking into his body, he suddenly frowned. He discovered that there was something else in his immortal meridians. A trace of golden blood. That trace of golden blood was extremely tiny. If Ning Fan did not look carefully, he would definitely not notice that there was something extra in his body. He tried to examine the golden blood trace carefully. However, as soon as his spirit sense enveloped the golden blood trace, it immediately disappeared without a trace, as if it had melted into his blood. What is that? Ning Fan frowned. He repeatedly activated his magic power but did not feel any additional power. He also did not notice any side effects of his magic power becoming sluggish. This is strange. This trace of golden blood obviously appeared after he consumed the crystal. However, he did not know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. Could it be the mark that the Lost World Palace planted in the crystal? Thinking of this possibility, Ning Fan's scalp immediately went numb. He did not like being hunted by a group of immortals. After repeatedly confirming that the golden blood that had disappeared from his body did not seem to be a mark, Yang Kai's expression became cloudy. The sudden increase in his magic power was a good thing. However, Ning Fan could not feel happy at all. If he did not find out what the golden blood was, he would not feel at ease. After thinking for 10 days, Ning Fan kept looking into his body, waiting for the golden blood to appear again. On the 10th day, a trace of golden blood was formed in Ning Fan's immortal veins again. This time, Ning Fan did not give the golden blood a chance to dissipate. He directly used his spirit sense to draw it out of his fingertip. Sensing the trace of golden blood on his fingertip, Ning Fan fell into deep thought. His expression gradually became relaxed. So this golden blood is a trace of the power of time that has fused into my blood. Let's call it the blood of time for now. This blood shouldn't be harmful to me. It will only benefit me. With the help of this blood, I can use a trace of the power of time. Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief. Then, his eyes turned solemn. A trace of purplish golden mist coiled around his fingertip. He looked at the mist in silence. In the past, he did not understand why the mist was purplish golden. Now, he understood it. The purple color did not change, but the golden color became a little deeper. The purple color was the Tao of the immortal sovereign. The golden color was the power of time. This technique was what Ning Fan comprehended on his own. It was to imitate samsara. Only now did he understand that he was imitating the power of samsara from the perspective of time. The power to erode everything was based on the golden time. An inch of time is an inch of gold. After keeping the blood of time into his body, Ning Fan calmed himself down. This blood of time could help increase the destructive power of his wind mist finger. It was not a disaster but a blessing. A piece of crystal could increase 100,000 units of magic power, and it could also produce a trace of blood of time. For a moment, Ning Fan really had the urge to steal the remaining 6 pieces of crystals. He finally understood why the dignified Hong Yun Reign sovereign would steal the crystals. He was afraid that Hong Yun was not interested in the magic power within the crystals but in comprehending the power of time. Even though the crystals were good, one must be alive to enjoy them. Putting aside the fact that Ning Fan could not steal the remaining 6 pieces of crystals, even if he could, it would definitely be unwise. The 7th floor of the Lost World Tower was destroyed because of the loss of the crystals. However, Void Fragmentation Realm experts rarely came to the Lost World Tower. Who would know that the crystals were missing? If the first 6 floors of the Lost World Tower are also destroyed, the fact that Ning Fan stole the crystals would probably be exposed immediately. It was obviously unwise. Ning Fan put away all his thoughts and calmed himself down, trying to adjust his condition to his peak. The shortcoming of his magic power had been made up for. His divine, demon and devil powers had all broken through to the mid-divine transformation realm. Next, Ning Fan would try to fuse the 3 powers like fusing 3 types of divine intent. The rain intent, mountain intent and Fuli intent realm were fused into a painting by Ning Fan. That intent realm was the reminiscence of the 7 Apricot City. It was a kind of determination to freeze all the past in the cycle of reincarnation. With the experience of fusing the intent realm, it would not be too difficult to fuse the 3 powers. Ning Fan's goal was to break through the limitations of the races and erase all traces of the divine, demon and devil races. From today onwards, he was neither a member of the divine race nor a member of the demon race nor a member of the devil race, he was just Ning Fan. 3 days later, Ning Fan's eyes lit up and he shouted coldly. Condense. As soon as he uttered this word, black snow began to fall from the sky within 10,000 li. Ning Fan's body was enveloped in purple light, as if he was wearing a purple robe. A plum tree appeared behind him. It had blood-red plum blossoms and a pitch-black tree trunk. This painting used 3 types of divine wills. The 3 types of divine intent were completely different and their natures were completely opposite. However, they were fused into one. It was all because of Ning Fan's obsession and memories. He was never obsessed with his own race. He was only obsessed with whether he could have the strength to protect his family. Be it divine, demon or devil. No matter which path he chose, he would still be Ning Fan in the end. Fuse. The 3 powers began to fuse. Since the ancient Chaos era, no one had been able to achieve such a feat. Who would have thought that there would be another Ning Fan who cultivated 3 powers at the same time in the future of cultivation. Devil Chi and demon power fused while demon power and magic power overlapped. For a moment, devil Chi surged from Ning Fan's body. In the next moment, he was filled with divine Chi, while in the next moment, he was filled with dense demon Chi. The 3 completely different auras disappeared without a trace in the end. 1 month later, Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes did not have the compassion of the divine race, the bloodthirst of the devil race or the treachery of the demon race. What he had was just an easygoing expression as usual. I am me. He suddenly stood up. After fusing the 3 powers, his magic power was still the dominant one. However, his magic power had reached 293,130 units. He had already broken through to the late divine transformation realm and was only a step away from the peak divine transformation realm. With just a thought, he could turn these 300,000 units of magic power into devil Chi and demon power at will. The path he was walking on was not the path of gods, demons or devils. Instead, it was a completely different path. Before the ancient Chaos era, someone had walked on this path. After the ancient Chaos era and the great ancient emperors died, no one else walked on this path. This was the ancient Tao of cultivation. Fiery clouds appeared in the sky again. This time, before the fiery clouds could condense, they were shattered by Ning Fan's palm and devoured all of the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation this time was enough to severely injure a late divine transformation realm expert. However, with Ning Fan's current strength, he would not care about such a degree of injury. I'm just a step away from breaking through again. I might as well break through to the peak divine transformation realm in one go. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and held a peak void refinement realm Dao fruit in his hand. There were 5 Dao fruits that Wei Xian had given him. One was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm while the other 4 were at the peak void refinement realm. If Ning Fan consumed this Dao fruit with his mid-divine transformation realm cultivation base, his body would only explode. If he consumed it with his late divine transformation realm cultivation base, he could barely absorb 1/3 of the medicinal power of the Dao fruit. A peak void refinement realm Dao fruit contained at least 50,000 units of magic power. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, it was too wasteful to consume a Dao fruit of this level. It would be best if he consumed it when he was about to break through to the void refinement realm. However, this was an urgent matter. In order to achieve another breakthrough, he could not afford to waste it. After using tens of spiritual herbs to harmonize the power of the Dao fruit, Ning Fan swallowed the fruit and his magic power increased by nearly 20,000 units. When his magic power reached 312,500 units, Ning Fan broke through the calmness in a single breath. The domineering aura force of a peak divine transformation realm cultivator rose from his body. Even the stars beneath his feet trembled. Peak divine transformation realm. Above the hollow space, the silver flames of the heavenly tribulation took shape once again. The destructive power of the fire tribulation this time was already comparable to the fatal attack of a half-step void refinement realm expert. It was not to be underestimated. This time, the fire tribulation was enough to make a void insight realm expert suffer. Ning Fan no longer relied on the steel of sun and moon to overcome the tribulation. Black devil flames swirled around his body. With a grasp of his 5 fingers, the soul of the star and the earth was sucked into his hand and swallowed into his body. After using the soul extraction technique, Ning Fan's aura force had completely increased to the half-step void refinement realm. If he could be said to be killing people who were at a higher level than him in the past, the current him was at the same level as the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea. The increase in his strength was certainly not trivial. Samadhi Fire Palm. Ning Fan sent out a palm strike. A 1,000 zhang fiery palm soared into the sky and went against the fire clouds. The so-called blood clouds of the heavenly tribulation were directly reduced by 1/10 after being hit by this palm strike. Without relying on any magic treasures to block the tribulation, Ning Fan's eyes revealed a fearless expression. All of the magic power in his body gathered in the center of his palm. He recalled Yan Zhong's palm force and the palm strike that destroyed the southern prison country. Inwardly, he understood more and more things. Originally, there was only one palm imprint in the center of his palm. However, as Ning Fan channeled his magic power into it, the second palm imprint immediately emerged. Break. This palm imprint was already 2,000 zhang in size. At the moment when it hit the tribulation clouds, the remaining tribulation clouds immediately collapsed as if they were dried twigs. This palm strike had exhausted all of his strength. Only void refinement realm cultivators could use this palm strike. The truth proved that Ning Fan's application of the Samadhi Fire Palm was a few streets ahead of revered Flame. Based on Reverend Yan's talent, it was impossible for him to form the second layer of the palm print. As expected of a mortal void magic technique, Ning Fan opened his mouth and sucked in all the scattered flames into his stomach. Then, he sat in a cross-legged position to recover his magic power. There wasn't much time left until he left the pill tower. Rather than cultivating, it was better to stabilize his peak soul transformation cultivation. After spending 126 years together in the Lost World Tower, his bone age was already close to 500 years old. Ning Fan did not dare to say that his innate talent was unparalleled, but it was definitely enough for him to be proud of himself. However, at this stage, Ning Fan became even more aware of the difficulty of breaking through to the void refinement realm. When one's cultivation base reaches the peak divine transformation realm, the effects of consuming an early divine transformation realm Dao fruit would be reduced by half. From the peak divine transformation realm to the half-step void refinement realm, it would probably be very difficult to increase the magic power of 200,000 units. A year was a very short period of time for cultivators. However, during this 1 year, Lu Qing did something that made him regret endlessly. He realized that Bei Xiaoman and Ning Fan had an ambiguous relationship. Thus, he made the decision to report the news to the Lost World Palace. However, he did not expect that the news would bring his mistress so much trouble. In the southern tower, Lu Qing stared at the unruly group of people in the main hall. His heart was filled with self-blame. Lu Qing. Are you the one who asked them to come? Bei Xiaoman's brows were cold. She did not like the feeling of being betrayed. Fourth mistress, it's my fault. If I knew this would happen, I would never dare to do such a thing. I regret it. Lu Qing's face was filled with remorse. The reason why he reported the relationship between Bei Xiaoman and Ning Fan was because he did not want his mistress to fall deeper into trouble. However, he did not expect that it would bring him even more trouble. What's the use of regretting? Get them out of here. Bei Xiaoman clenched her fists tightly. If it was not because she knew that Lu Qing meant well, she would certainly not let him go. Her beautiful eyes scanned across the main hall. There were a total of 49 people in this group and all of them were at the divine transformation realm. The leader of the group was a young man in black robes. His name was Shimen Yi. He was the person that Bei Xiaoman hated the most. That kind of disgust came from the bottom of her heart. It was completely different from the hatred she had for Ning Fan. Shimen Yi, I won't go with you. Bei Xiaoman said coldly. He. You are my fiancé. Do you think I will allow you to say no when I bring you away? Bei Xiaoman, let me tell you. With your unruly personality and your low potential, Shimen Yi will never like you. Our marriage is just a condition for the Lost World Palace and the Shimen clan to form an alliance. Moreover, I had obtained the Great Elder's permission to descend to the lower world today. You should know that if the Great Elder agrees to it, even your mother will not be able to protect you. The young man's eyes were cold. He did not care about Bei Xiaoman at all. However, when he heard that his fiancée was fooling around with another man in the lower world, his heart was filled with killing intent. He could not wait to kill Bei Xiaoman right now. If you follow me obediently, I won't punish you. If you don't, I will break your arms and legs and bring you back to the northern heaven. You can choose for yourself. How dare you? Lu Qing and Shi Bing were infuriated. Even if this was a marriage arranged by the Great Elder for Bei Xiaoman, even if this marriage was related to the Lost World Palace and even if the Shimen clan was extremely powerful, they would never allow their mistress to be humiliated. The two of them took a step forward. Their divine transformation realm chi force swept across the area. Vaguely, their chi force seemed to be in harmony with each other. Shi Bing's chi force, in particular, had been raised to the mid-divine transformation realm. Among the 49 people of the Shimen clan, 30 of them were early divine transformation realm cultivators. When Shi Bing and Lu Qing's chi force collided with them, their chi immediately became chaotic. Their eyes were filled with surprise. They were not surprised at Lu Qing but at Shi Bing. Didn't they say that the puppet protecting Bei Xiaoman was an early divine transformation realm cultivator? How could it be a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator? As for the other 19 people, none of their expressions changed. There were 9 mid-divine transformation realm cultivators, 5 late divine transformation realm cultivators, 3 peak divine transformation realm cultivators and 2 half-step void refinement realm cultivators. The black-robed young man, Shimen Yi, was a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. Moreover, his body was just his separated soul. This man is not like Zichuan or Lin Su. His potential is unparalleled in the northern heaven. He is one of the 4 sons of the northern heaven. He calls himself Emperor Shi. Shimen Ye's expression did not change when Shi Bing and Lu Qing's chi force collided with him. Instead, his demonic black eyes flashed with a hint of disdain. Bei Xiaoman, you are wearing out my patience. I heard that the person you fell in love with in the lower world is a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator. His combat power is comparable to a half-step void refinement realm expert. His name is Zhou Ming, right? If you don't come with me, I will kill him. Who fell in love with Zhou Ming? Wait. You can't kill him. Bei Xiaoman panicked. She knew how cold-blooded and terrifying Shimen Ye was. As expected, you care about him a lot. Shimen Ye's eyes became even colder. He was definitely going to be cuckolded. His gaze swept across Lu Qing and Shi Bing as if he was looking at a bunch of clowns. His gaze carried a demonic power that was as dark as the night. It pierced through the void, and at the next moment, Lu Qing and Shi Bing suffered a heavy blow. Both of them coughed out blood and were sent flying. They were actually severely injured by Shimen Ye's gaze. Severely injuring Shi Bing with just a gaze. What exactly is his cultivation base? Bei Xiaoman suddenly felt a sense of helplessness. You have reached the void fragmentation realm. Yes, Shimen Ye's true body had already broken through to the void fragmentation realm. Even though his separated soul only had the strength of a half-step void refinement realm cultivator, it was still very powerful. It could even put up a fight against an early void refinement realm cultivator. Humph. Who do you think I, Shimen Ye, am? Am I the same as you, only at the divine transformation stage? Among the 4 young ladies of the Bei family, only your eldest sister and second sister are worthy of my attention. The other girls are not worth mentioning. Shimen Ye's words were cold. He took a step forward and reached out his hand to grab Bei Xiaoman. Bei Xiaoman tried to dodge, but Shimen Ye's gaze landed on her. She felt a sweetness in her throat and blood trickled down her throat. His eyes were filled with resentment. Not just anyone could bully her. No. Miss. Stone Warrior and Lu Qing were both shocked, especially Lu Qing, who was the most regretful. If he had known that the young miss would suffer such humiliation, he would never have reported this matter to North Heaven. She was the dignified 4th miss of Northski, but she was being bullied and humiliated by the Shimen clan. Moreover, it was the Great Elder's idea. What was the Great Elder thinking? Was he going to be captured and brought back to the Shimen clan to be used as a human cauldron? Boom! Just as the claw was about to land on Bei Xiaoman's body, a ghost-like figure in white robes suddenly appeared in the main hall. He grabbed Bei Xiaoman's waist and with a flash, he dodged Shimen Ye's claw attack and appeared at the side. Who are you? Shimen Ye's expression turned cold when he saw the white-robed young man who suddenly appeared. If he was not mistaken, the speed of that white-robed young man had already reached the early void refinement realm. I am the human cauldron that she keeps. Zhou Ming, Ning Fan said coldly. There was a trace of blood on his face. Even though his speed was comparable to a void refinement realm cultivator, he was still injured by Shimen Ye's claw attack. This man's strength is really strong. He is different from all the other geniuses that I have met in the past. Chapter 378. Zhou Xiaoming, let go of me. Let go. Being hugged tightly by Ning Fan in front of so many people, Bei Xiaoman's face was filled with embarrassment and anger even though they had intimate contact before. However, the more she struggled, the tighter Ning Fan hugged her, as if he was purposely bullying her. Then, he stealthily moved his finger and caressed a sensitive spot on Bei Xiaoman's waist. Bei Xiaoman's body went numb and she let out a soft moan. Then, she felt so ashamed that she wanted to die. Fortunately, the cultivators at the scene only thought that Bei Xiaoman was moaning because she was hurt. They did not know that her sensitive areas had been touched. Otherwise, Bei Xiaoman would go crazy on the spot. You, shameless. Bei Xiaoman had a grudge, but she could not say it out loud. She did not dare to say that she was touched by Ning Fan in front of so many people. Yes, he was the most shameless person in the world. I hate him the most. But why was she so happy when he came to save her? Bei Xiaoman's mind was in a mess. Then, she remembered how powerful Shimen Yi was and her face turned pale. Zhou Xiaoming, hurry up and leave. He's very powerful, I know. Ning Fan gently let go of Bei Xiaoman and shielded her behind him. Then, he wiped away the bloodstain on her lips with the tip of his finger, causing her face to turn red with embarrassment. Before he made his move, Ning Fan had already sensed that Shimen Yi was extraordinary. This Shimen Yi was just a clone of his, but it possessed the strength of a half-step void refinement realm expert. Even if the true body of this person is not at the peak void refinement realm, it should at least be at the void fragmentation realm. If Shimen Yi is just an ordinary half-step void refinement realm expert, Ning Fan was confident that he could put up a fight against him. However, Shimen Yi possessed void fragmentation realm combat awareness. His true combat power was probably at the void refinement realm. Saving Bei Xiaoman would only bring him trouble. However, before he could clearly weigh the pros and cons, his body had already involuntarily flashed out. When Bei Xiaoman was in danger, he stood in front of her. Perhaps it was for Yuan Yao's sake. Perhaps, this was his responsibility as the Tower Master of the Lost World Tower. Perhaps it was a joking mistress relationship with Bei Xiaoman. Perhaps it was because he did not want anyone other than himself to bully Bei Xiaoman. As long as I'm here, you won't be able to take her away. Ning Fan's tone was flat, but his aura was not any weaker than Shimen Yi's. He would not be frightened by Shimen Yi. Even if the true body of Shimen Yi came, he would still have the same attitude. He had offended many void fragmentation realm old monsters. You. Shimen Yi acted as if he had heard something hilarious. He gave the three-peak divine transformation realm experts beside him a meaningful glance. Then, he closed his eyes lazily, waiting for Ning Fan's blood to splash 3 feet high. Immediately, the three-peak divine transformation realm experts understood what Ning Fan meant. Each of them let out a cold smirk and turned into 3 wisps of smoke to attack Ning Fan. Despicable. Seeing Ning Fan being attacked by 3-peak divine transformation realm experts, Bei Xiaoman's expression immediately changed. The members of the Shimen clan were quite proficient in joint attacks. The combined strength of the 3-peak divine transformation realm experts was almost comparable to that of ordinary half-step void refinement realm experts. Moreover, the 3 of them were cultivators from the upper world. Their techniques were much stronger than revered Yen from the lower world. Thus, Bei Xiaoman was naturally worried that Ning Fan would be at a disadvantage. Shimen Yi slightly closed his eyes, clearly thinking that victory was already in his grasp. From his point of view, if they were only dealing with a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator, even if that mid-divine transformation realm cultivator's combat power was comparable to a half-step void refinement realm cultivator, he would certainly not be able to withstand the ruthless attacks of his 3 servants. Scram! Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He took a step forward and a wave of majestic sword chi spread out, engulfing the main hall. Before the 3-peak divine transformation realm experts could get close to Ning Fan, they were forced out of their bodies by the powerful force of the sword. Immediately, their chests felt as if they had suffered a heavy blow. All of them were sent flying backwards while coughing out blood. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. Immortal trapping sword intent. Moreover, it's even a grand accomplishment sword intent. The 3 of them had killed countless divine transformation realm experts by joining hands. However, they could not even get close to Ning Fan's body. Just by saying scram and taking a single step like a sword, the 3 of them were sent flying backwards while coughing out blood. Even Shimen Ye's expression turned slightly grim. He immediately realized that Ning Fan was not a mid-divine transformation realm cultivator like the information he received. Instead, he was a genuine peak divine transformation realm cultivator. Peak divine transformation realm. A peak divine transformation realm cultivator whose bone age is less than 500 years. His aptitude is indeed extraordinary. However, you have to understand that in this world, you can't reach the peak just by relying on your aptitude. In my eyes, you're just an ant. When one's cultivation base reaches a certain level, aptitude would no longer be the most important. Without a strong background and the support of countless cultivation resources, breaking through to the void fragmentation realm, life immortal realm and true immortal realm would be completely unrealistic. In Shimin Ye's eyes, Ning Fan was just a junior with average aptitude. After all, Shimin Ye's true body had already attained the void fragmentation realm. In the four heavens, he was one of the few geniuses of this generation. As for Ning Fan, he was just at the peak divine transformation realm. It was still unknown whether he could attain the void refinement realm or the void fragmentation realm. Aptitude did not mean everything. You, kill him. Shimin Yi signaled to an elderly man in silver robes beside him. That elderly man immediately understood what he meant and took a step forward. Surprisingly, his cultivation base was also at the half-step void refinement realm. The silver-robed elderly man's body was surrounded by traces of lightning which made sizzling sounds. At the moment when his aura force was released, all the cultivators of the Shimin clan except for Shimin Yi kept a distance from him. Their faces were filled with fear. Is it Elder Lei who is going to make a move this time? Elder Lei's lightning technique is rarely matched by anyone at the same level as him. Especially this lightning which is a 6th grade void lightning. Its power is extraordinary. I heard that the endless sea of the lower world has some bullshit called the 7 venerated beings of the internal endless sea. If these 7 venerated beings are placed in front of Elder Lei, they are nothing. A series of whispers fell into the silver-robed elderly man's ears. However, it did not affect his mind at all. It showed that he was a cultivator with a strong heart. Elder Lei's gaze swept across Bei Xiaoman. When he saw the latter's slightly pale face, he felt a little guilty. He had received many favors from the 4 young mistresses of the Lost World Palace. If he were to kill Ning Fan today, Bei Xiaoman would certainly be sad. He sighed inwardly. However, he could not help himself. Now that he was a member of the Shimin clan, he had to be loyal to them. He looked at Ning Fan with a hint of mercy in his eyes. Then, he said coldly. Zhou Ming, if you surrender now, I will let your soul enter samsara for the sake of the 4th mistress. No need. You are not my match. Humph. Shameless boasting. Elder Lei's eyes turned cold. He was an expert who had half a step into the void refinement realm. Why would he be afraid of a peak divine transformation realm cultivator? He was already showing mercy by letting Ning Fan's soul enter samsara. Since Ning Fan did not know what was good for him, there was no need for him to show any mercy. He took a step forward and silver lightning surrounded his body. He drew a semicircle in the air with both of his hands. At the next moment, the lightning turned into an 8 trigrams palm imprint and struck at Ning Fan. 8 directional lightning. The 8 trigrams palm imprint immediately turned into 8 lightning snakes that were as thick as the mouth of a bowl and attacked Ning Fan with sizzling sounds. This palm attack was not a large-scale attack. Instead, it condensed the palm force to its limit. Each of the lightning snakes could easily kill a peak divine transformation realm cultivator. This lightning is not bad. I want it. Ning Fan suddenly touched his glabella and drew out the spirit-breaking whip which was a peak spiritual treasure. He then lashed 8 times at the 8 lightning snakes. Although his opponent's lightning was a 6th grade void lightning, Ning Fan's lightning was the lightning of the heavenly tribulation. The 8 whip shadows and 8 blood lightning dragons clashed with the silver lightning. Immediately, electric sparks shot out in all directions. Shi Bing and Lu Qing immediately activated the southern tower's defense to prevent the battle from affecting the outside world. Once the electric sparks spread, perhaps the area within 10,000 li of the Black Tortoise City would be razed to the ground. Rumble. When the two lightning snakes came into contact with each other, Elder Lei's expression changed drastically. His 6th grade silver lightning actually showed signs of fear. It did not dare to resist the blood lightning at all. After the 8 lashes, the lightning snake suddenly shattered and all the electric sparks were devoured by the blood lightning. In front of everyone's eyes, the spirit-breaking whip devoured all of Elder Lei's spirit lightning and advanced to a half-step void treasure. Heavenly Tribulation Blood Lightning. Among the 7 realms of the cultivation realm, this lightning is almost the strongest. Elder Lei's expression turned grim. He finally realized that even though Ning Fan was only a peak divine transformation realm cultivator, his techniques were definitely not weak. It would be very difficult for him to defeat Ning Fan. When he turned around, he saw Shimen Yi looking at him with displeasure. All of a sudden, Elder Lei knew that something was wrong. If he could not kill Ning Fan, he would definitely be killed by Shimen Yi. Let's fight. Thunder-splitting sword, appear. Elder Lei waved his sleeve and 8 silver sword shadows appeared in front of him. Each of the sword shadows was a peak spiritual treasure. When the 8 swords merged into one, its destructive power would not be any weaker than a void treasure. It's the thunder-splitting sword. This is the treasure that made Elder Lei famous. I wonder how many divine transformation realm cultivators have died under this sword. Humph. That Zhou Ming is dead for sure. Even though his blood whip is powerful and can restrain lightning, it is just a half-step void treasure after all. It can't withstand the destructive power of this thunder-splitting sword. Even though Elder Lei was slightly weaker than Ning Fan, all the cultivators of the Shimen clan believed that Elder Lei had a higher chance of winning. As Elder Lei changed his hand seal, the 8 swords turned into rays of light and shot forward, emitting ear-piercing screeches. All of a sudden, they disappeared without a trace. In the next moment, each of them flashed and appeared 5 zhang away from Ning Fan. Sword chi shot out from the swords and 8 streaks of sword lightning swept towards Ning Fan. When the 8 lightning swords merged into one, even a half-step void refinement realm expert would die. Seeing that the 8 swords were coming at him, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He took a step forward and the blood whip in his hand moved like a shadow. In an instant, he lashed out 100 times consecutively. The 100 whips landed on the 8 thunder-splitting swords. In just an instant, the 8 swords broke into pieces from the middle as if they were struck by lightning. As for the 8 streaks of lightning swords, they were directly swept away by the spirit-breaking whip. After his 8 swords were broken, Elder Lei's eyes were filled with shock. He had never expected that the spirit-breaking whip was actually such a powerful magic treasure. What was even more unexpected was that at the same time when the 8 swords were broken, 100 streaks of blood-red lightning suddenly rose from his dantian and heavily struck his primordial spirit. Puff, Elder Lei's face turned pale. He was severely injured. He could feel that if it wasn't for Ning Fan showing mercy, his primordial spirit would have been destroyed and he would have died under the blood lightning. Retreat. Otherwise, I won't show mercy anymore. Ning Fan held the lightning whip in his hand. His eyes were like a devil and his black hair danced wildly in the wind. If it wasn't for Elder Lei's kind words and willingness to let Ning Fan's soul enter samsara, Ning Fan would definitely not spare his life. If Elder Lei continues to be stubborn, Ning Fan will no longer show mercy. He will just kill him. A gust of cold chi swept across the cultivators of the Shimen clan. Elder Lei, who possessed the 6th grade spirit lightning and the thunder-splitting swords, was nearly killed by Ning Fan in just 2 moves. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that if it wasn't for Ning Fan showing mercy, Elder Lei would have already died. This Zhou Ming is a ruthless person. Even though he is not as good as Shimen Yi, he can still be considered as a genius whose name can shake a region in the northern heaven. Under Ning Fan's intense gaze, the divine transformation realm cultivators of the Shiman clan who were extremely arrogant just now avoided eye contact with him. None of them dared to look him in the eye. Shiman Yi, I've said it before. As long as I'm here, you won't be able to take her away. Rumble, Shiman Ye's face darkened. Ning Fan's words were no different from slapping his face. He mercilessly sent out a palm strike. Elder Lei's severely injured physical body immediately turned into a mist of blood. Only his primordial spirit survived. Trash. After I kill this evil, I will come and kill you. Elder Lei's primordial spirit was filled with fear. However, he did not dare to resist and he could not. Shiman Yi was too strong. Killing him was just a matter of seconds. His gaze shifted to Ning Fan. He already understood that Ning Fan was indeed a formidable figure. At least, there was almost no one below the Void Refinement Realm who could defeat him. However, that was only below the Void Refinement Realm. Even though Shiman Ye's clone was also at the half-step Void Refinement Realm, his true body was a true first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Do you like Bei Xiaoman a lot? Ning Fan did not answer. Humph. I won't bully you. As long as you can defeat me by half a move, Bei Xiaoman will be yours. Qi Shiman Yi drew a line in the void with his palm. Immediately, the air in front of him was split into two halves by the force of his palm, revealing a newly opened heavenly dwelling space. Opening the heavenly dwelling with a palm. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. Only Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters could achieve such a technique. With Ning Fan's eyesight, even though the heavenly dwelling space that Shiman Yi casually opened was only 10,000 li wide, it was enough to show that this person's techniques were extraordinary. Moreover, it seemed that this Shiman Yi was extremely conceited. He disdained to defeat Ning Fan in the Black Tortoise City. After all, fighting in the Black Tortoise City might affect other cultivators and distract Ning Fan. Shiman Yi wanted to openly trample Ning Fan under his feet. Enter this heavenly dwelling and fight with me. If you can defeat me by half a move, Bei Xiaoman will be yours. If you lose, you will die. Shiman Yi did not say a word and stepped into the heavenly dwelling. As for Ning Fan, after pondering for a while, he reckoned that it would be easy for him to destroy a mere heavenly dwelling space with his wind mist finger. If there are any changes, he could escape at any time. Moreover, this space had just been opened. It was impossible for there to be any formation or ambush. Xiaoman, I'm not a commodity. Ning Fan turned his head to look at Bei Xiaoman and gave her a faint smile. Then, he turned around and stepped into the heavenly dwelling space. Plop! Another small pebble fell into the lake of her heart. His words had made Bei Xiaoman's heart tremble. Not a commodity. He said that I'm not a commodity, be it my mother or my elder sister, both of them treated my engagement as a bargaining chip to befriend the Shiman clan and treated me like a commodity. However, he said that I'm not a commodity. Bei Xiaoman had always felt that Ning Fan was very hateful. Extremely hateful. Every time she saw Ning Fan smile at her, she would feel inexplicably angry. However, this time, she felt that his smile was especially beautiful. It was so beautiful that it made her heart ache. He clearly knows how strong Shiman Yi is, but he still wants to fight him. Doesn't he love to bully me the most? Why is he willing to stand up for me? Don't go, Bei Xiaoman suddenly felt scared. She knew how strong Shiman Yi was. She tried to persuade him to stay, but Ning Fan had already entered the heavenly dwelling space. She wanted to enter the heavenly dwelling space, but it was opened by Shiman Ye's palm imprint. Unless one was a Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator, who else could enter it easily? Boom! Without giving Bei Xiaoman too much time to think, just as Ning Fan and Shiman Yi entered the heavenly dwelling space, an earth-shattering fluctuation spread out from the heavenly dwelling space. Both of them used their full strength as soon as they fought. The fluctuation from their battle almost shattered the heavenly dwelling space. A stream of blood flowed out from the crack in the void, splashing onto Bei Xiaoman's face. Bei Xiaoman gently touched the blood. How could she not recognize that aura? It's Ning Fan's blood. What happened inside? What exactly happened? Why did Ning Fan's blood splatter across the void as soon as he attacked? Be alright. Be alright. Bei Xiaoman could no longer hold back her tears. Ning Fan was fighting for her, but she did not even know whether he was dead or alive at this moment. She finally realized that she could no longer let go of him in her heart. In the heavenly dwelling space, Ning Fan's entire body was bathed in blood. His eyes were filled with coldness. In front of him, Shimen Ye's fist bones were also shattered. He was inwardly shocked. His separated soul was at the peak Jade Life Body Refinement realm, while Ning Fan was only at the third level of the Jade Life Body Refinement realm. However, after hundreds of punches, Ning Fan did not seem to be in a disadvantageous position even though he was bathed in blood. As for Shimen Yi, he did not have a complete victory. His fist bones were shattered by Ning Fan. You are very strong. However, your strength is only within the divine transformation realm. I have already reached the void fragmentation realm and I have seen too many geniuses. I'm not afraid to tell you that the strength of this separated soul is almost the same as my strength when I was at the divine transformation realm. You are no match for me. Is that so? Then why are your fist bones shattered? Ning Fan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His battle intent became even stronger. It was his first time meeting a genius of the same generation as him. Moreover, that person was so strong that he instinctively trembled with nervousness and excitement. In the past, he became a little arrogant just because he defeated some geniuses. Han Yetian and Shimen Yi. They were all existences who had broken through to the void fragmentation realm among their peers. I won't lose. Ning Fan said resolutely. Humph. What a shameless boast. I won't show any mercy to you this time. Soul extraction. Shimen Yi clawed at the earth soul of the heavenly dwelling with his 5 fingers. However, Ning Fan's lips curved into a cold smirk. He also clawed at the earth soul before Shimen Yi did. There was only one earth soul. After Ning Fan extracted it, Shimen Yi had no other soul to extract. You also know the soul extraction technique and you are even more skilled than me. This is impossible. Shimen Ye's expression changed for the first time. This soul extraction technique was only comprehended after Shimen Yi broke through to the void fragmentation realm. Thus, he was not very proficient in it. Originally, he wanted to extract the soul until his magic power reached the void refinement realm and kill Ning Fan with a single move. However, he did not expect that Ning Fan would take away his earth soul instead. After extracting the soul into his body, Ning Fan's magic power skyrocketed. All of a sudden, his cultivation base rose to the half-step void refinement realm, which was not any weaker than Shimen Yi. His bones let out a crisp sound that sounded like a sonic boom. Ning Fan's eyes were like lightning as he stared at Shimen Yi coldly. 2 layers of palm imprints condensed in the center of his palms and he threw a palm strike. At the next moment, rolling black flames turned into a 2000 zhang large flaming palm, pressing towards Shimen Yi from the sky. Mortal Void Realm Magic Technique? But so what? Great Void Palm. Shimen Yi threw out a palm imprint. The void power that was as dark as the night turned into a 2000 zhang large black palm imprint and collided with the flaming palm. Boom! The flaming palm was shattered and so was the void palm. Waves of energy swept across the place, almost causing the space of the heavenly dwelling to collapse. Ning Fan took 10 steps back while Shimen Yi took 9 steps back. Only then did they manage to stabilize their bodies. Shimen Yi was inwardly surprised. The great void palm that he used all of his strength was actually blocked by Ning Fan. What was even more unbelievable was that Ning Fan flapped his fully purple wings the moment he stabilized his body. He held his sword with both of his hands. One of his hands was filled with starlight like water while the other was filled with blood chi like a dragon. He was not shaken by the destruction of the flaming palm at all. Holding the sharp swords with both of his hands, he attacked Shimen Yi without any fear of death. I will not lose. This time, Shimen Yi could truly feel the aura force from Ning Fan's sword. Then, his expression changed. This Ning Fan was definitely the most ferocious divine transformation realm cultivator he had ever met. However, you are just a divine transformation realm cultivator after all. Condense a sword from the void. Shimen Yi waved his hand and the power of the void condensed into a pitch-black sword. Its power was comparable to a void treasure. He pointed his sword at Ning Fan's two swords. When the swords clashed with each other, the space of the heavenly dwelling began to collapse. After the swords clashed for more than 10 times, Shimen Yi impatiently realized that he could not gain any advantage over Ning Fan at all. Moreover, in terms of the exquisiteness of sword techniques, he was far inferior to Ning Fan. I can't believe that I lost to an ant from the lower world in terms of the Tao of sword. A strong sense of displeasure surged in Shimen Yi's heart. He held his sword with one hand and the other fiercely slapped the body of Ning Fan's separation slayer. The force of the slap shattered the webbing between Ning Fan's thumb and forefinger. Blood gushed out like a fountain. However, his eyes did not change his charging stance. He slashed the blood dragon demon sword towards Shimen Yi's neck, not caring about the injury he suffered. Shimen Yi was secretly shocked. This kind of fighting method that risked one's life to take another's life made him extremely fearful. He hurriedly retreated but his neck was still slashed by the blood dragon demon sword, leaving behind a half-inch long bloody mark. Moreover, when the blood dragon demon sword slashed his skin, there seemed to be a tearing force coming from the blood sword, sucking away a lot of Shimen Yi's blood essence. Due to his carelessness, he suffered a greater loss than Ning Fan. What kind of demon sword is this? Shimen Yi was enraged. He would not allow himself to be injured by an ant. Half a move. I have one. Ning Fan mocked. Shut up. Shimen Yi's eyes were filled with madness. The agreement of half a move was thrown to the back of his mind. At this moment, he only had one thought in his mind and that was to kill Ning Fan. Chapter 379. Shimen Yi touched the wound on his neck and his eyes were filled with killing intent. However, at the next moment, he bit the tip of his tongue and suppressed his killing intent. He was arrogant. Therefore, he would go crazy after being injured by Ning Fan. He was conceited. Therefore, he would not allow himself to be at a disadvantage. Shimen Yi's black robes fluttered in the wind. His heart became calmer and calmer. His deep black eyes no longer had any emotions. For black divine stars appeared on his glabella. However, he raised his hand and crushed 2 of them. Blood trickled down from the corner of his mouth but he remained cold and arrogant. He did not explain and no longer concealed his killing intent towards Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan knew that Shimen Yi destroyed 2 of his divine stars for the sake of fairness. He wanted to annihilate Ning Fan equally. You are indeed very strong. If you were born 1,000 years earlier, you would have already reached the void fragmentation realm. However, you need to understand that you are still inferior to me. Your injuries are too severe. You are already an arrow at the end of its flight. I don't think so. Ning Fan secretly activated the black star technique and his body was surrounded by faint starlight. He did not directly summon his natal star. Even Shimen Yi might not know that he had learned the black star technique. His injuries that were bathed in blood recovered at an extremely fast speed. This scene shocked Shimen Yi. Ning Fan's method of self-recovery was very similar to the star healing technique. You have quite a lot of techniques. If that's the case, I can fight you to my heart's content. If you walk out of this world alive, I can guarantee on behalf of the Shiman clan that Bei Xiaoman will belong to you. If you lose, you will die. Shiman Yi did not say anything else. His expression changed and his first divine star flashed. In an instant, the sky inside the heavenly dwelling turned from day to night. As the night fell, Shiman Ye's chi gradually became faint. Eventually, he disappeared from Ning Fan's sight. His first divine star was the divine star of night. It was the ruler of the night. As long as he stayed in the depths of the night, he could conceal all his chi. Assassination and sneak attack were not a problem. Chi streaks of pitch-black sword energy were immersed in the night sky as they attacked from all directions. Ning Fan wielded both of his swords and blocked the sword chi. The purple star in his left eye flashed as if it could see through the night and immediately found Shiman Ye's hiding spot. The baleful chi around him rose and gathered in the blood sword. Under the activation of Ning Fan's baleful chi, the blood sword emitted an evil and strange red light in the night sky. A sword pointed to where Shiman Yi was, like it could sweep away 1,000 troops, like it could swing a mountain, and where the sword tip pointed, it seemed to pierce through this side of the world. For a moment, within the space of the cave, there were deafening roars of countless blood dragons. A blood-colored sword ray shot out from the sword, splitting into 10, then into 100. In an instant, there were already 1,000,000 sword rays. As the sword chi swept across, countless hollow spaces collapsed. Layers of darkness were forcefully dispersed. Shiman Yi, who was hiding in the darkness, was forced out by Ning Fan's sword. Puff! After coughing up blood heavily, Shiman Yi retreated 100 steps. His hair bun was cut off, his black hair dancing in the wind. Shiman Yi was secretly surprised when he was forced to reveal himself by Ning Fan's sword, but he had already expected such a situation. He was hiding in the night to activate the power of the second divine star. The second divine star was a bit special. It was called the Star of Seven Tones. A deity transformation cultivator would need some time to completely activate the power of this star. He drew a mysterious sound diagram with both of his hands and condensed the power of the void to form a 7-stringed guqin. He held it horizontally in his arms and traces of ancient music came from his fingertips. Wherever the music passed by, all the sword rays would collapse. At this moment, Shiman Yi stood in the sky, as if he could compete with the sun and the moon. Without any warning, Ning Fan's heart was filled with alarm and he immediately retreated. At the moment when he retreated, Shiman Yi chanted the first sound. The first sound of the 7 tones, the sound of the 5 elements. He increased the speed of his plucking. The devil sound was as scorching as fire. Wherever the devil sound passed by, it turned into a sea of black flames. Ice fell from the sky, sand rose from the ground, lightning flashed in the sky and a misty wind swept across. Mortal Void Technique. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. This devil sound controlling 5 elements technique was obviously a mortal void realm killing technique. Once he is attacked, it would be the same as being hit by a mortal void realm attack. Sound waves carried an unstoppable destructive force and attacked him. The sound waves were formless and intangible. How could he possibly defend against them? Tens of thousands of rays of black light fell from the top of Shiman Ye's head. At this moment, he looked solemn and dignified. It was impossible to tell that the sound he was playing was filled with endless killing intent. Under the engulfment of the devil sound, the earth soul that Ning Fan extracted from the ground suddenly collapsed. His soul extraction technique failed once again and his aura force fell back to the peak divine transformation realm. Clang as Shiman Ye's plucking intensified, the sound waves turned into tangible waves and swept across the 5 elements. The first sound of the 7 tones, the 5 elements could be used as sound. When the devil sound is released, it could break all the 5 elements in the world. In order to defend against this sound, none of the 5 elements techniques could be used. He could only use techniques that were not related to the 5 elements. Ning Fan's white robes were like the moon. His cold eyes were as vast as the stars. He did not know many magic techniques that were not related to the 5 elements. However, there was one that could break the 5 elements' devil sound at this moment. Break through the 5 elements and evolve the 5 tombs. The wind is the wood dragon, the earth is the earth dragon, the lightning is the gold dragon, the flame is the fire dragon and the ice is the water dragon. When the 5 dragons die, the black dragon is born. When the 5 elements die, the 5 tombs are born. Ning Fan's fingers moved rapidly, forming mysterious hand seals and activating the Fu Li demon blood to support the use of this technique. Each time he chanted a word, a tombstone that was 1,000 zhang above his head would appear with the shadow of a dragon. The 5 tombstones represented the 5 elements and coincided with the heavenly secrets of life and death. When they appeared in the 5 tombs, Shimen Yi was shocked. The first string of his 7-string zither broke. The 5 elemental demonic sounds shattered at the same time. 5 Tombs Dragon Technique. This is the lost ancestral blood demonic technique of the Black Dragon clan. How can you use it? Looking at the 5 tombstones that were descending from above his head, Shimen Ye's expression changed. He plucked the 2nd string of the zither. The 2nd sound of the 7 sounds, the sound of the 4 beasts. The sound of the 4 beasts specialized in breaking the 4 bloodlines of the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird and Black Tortoise. Clang, the sound waves were filled with the sound of killing. They turned into dragon-shaped runes and pressed down on the 5 tombstones. The tremendous force of the 5 tombstones smashing down was extremely strong. It broke through the countless sound waves just by falling down. However, each time the sound waves touched the runes, the black dragon above the 5 tombstones would become a little more illusory. In just a few breaths, the black dragon on the 1st tombstone collapsed. The 1st tombstone was shattered. The 3rd sound of the 7 sounds, the sound of mountain uprooting. Clang, as soon as this sound appeared, the devil sound carried a raging aura force that could push mountains and fill seas, directly leveling the remaining 4 tombstones to the ground. The 4th sound of the 7 sounds, the sound of 10,000 swords. Clang, as soon as this sound appeared, the devil sound turned into millions of sword light, drowning Ning Fan in the sea of swords. Shimen Ye's devil sound was unpredictable and difficult to defend against. Each sound could break a unique technique. Seeing Ning Fan being drowned in the sea of swords, Shimen Yi snorted coldly and said disdainfully. You can only withstand 4 of my devil sounds, huh? It seems like you're already dead before I need to use the remaining 3. Noisy. In the sea of swords, Ning Fan sneered and pressed his finger. He admitted that Shimen Ye's 7 sounds technique was unique. However, it seemed to be too early for Shimen Yi to kill him with this. If someone could see through the millions of sword light, they would see a strange scene. As the devil sound moved, the millions of sound swords gathered into 9 sword rivers. Ning Fan stood calmly on the sword rivers. Sword light kept flying past his skin, but strangely, none of them dared to kill him. Even though the devil sound technique was strong, it did not contain any sword intent. Ning Fan's sword intent was the grand completion immortal trapping sword intent. He was the lord of all swords. With this sword intent protecting him, how would any ordinary sword cheat dare to harm him? When he gently lifted his finger, it seemed to carry an unimaginable power that was enough to destroy everything in its path. As soon as he pointed his finger, the heavenly dwelling space suddenly collapsed and the ground cracked. The vast sky shattered. Heaven-breaking sword finger. First collapse. Second collapse. In the midst of the 2 collapses, an extremely dazzling sword light shot out from his finger. It turned into millions of sword light and was pulled into millions of sword threads by Ning Fan. The sword threads danced in the air and the sound swords collapsed one after another. When the millions of sword threads touched his body, Shimen Ye's cold eyes changed greatly. His body immediately flashed with the color of the night. Without saying a word, he left the iron zither behind and left. At the next moment, millions of sword threads pierced him. It was like purgatory, shattering heaven and earth. Under the attack of the sword threads, the iron zither that was condensed from the power of the void was instantly shattered. Shimen Ye's physical body was minced into a mist of blood and disappeared without a trace. 10 breaths later, the sword threads dispersed. Shimen Ye took a step out from the ruins. Black light enveloped him and his physical body reformed. It was actually the incarnation of immortality technique. However, it seemed that even though Shimen Ye used his incarnation to block the sword fingers, he was still severely injured. His eyes were filled with astonishment for the first time. Sword finger. You actually obtained the inheritance of the sword ancestor's sword finger. Shimen Ye had never expected that the 7 sounds technique that he used to be invincible among his peers was actually broken by Ning Fan with just a finger. What was more unexpected was that Ning Fan possessed so many secret techniques that they were not any weaker than him who was a heaven's pride of an aristocratic family. Shimen Ye, fight me. Ning Fan kept his swords. Even though his entire body was bathed in blood, his silver robes were not torn. On the other hand, even though Shimen Ye did not suffer any external injuries with the help of his incarnation, his robes were torn and tattered. Shimen Ye used his incarnation and it was the incarnation of night. Ning Fan also took a step forward. Black chi billowed around his body, making him look like a thick and indifferent ink. His figure became even more ethereal. When Shimen Ye saw this scene, the greatest pride in his heart was shattered. Shimen Ye's greatest pride was that he had comprehended the incarnation technique when he was at the void refinement realm and created the incarnation of night. However, Ning Fan was able to use the incarnation technique when he was at the divine transformation realm. This immediately made Shimen Ye's pride seem worthless. Shimen Ye, fight me. Ning Fan was tired of being showy. He took a step forward and turned into black smoke. With a flash, he appeared in front of Shimen Ye and threw out a punch. Shimen Ye was truly enraged. His cultivation level was obviously higher than Ning Fan's, but he was being suppressed by Ning Fan in every aspect. He did not like this kind of feeling. Zhou Ming. You are definitely not my opponent. Boom! They gave up on all the showy moves and only used their fists to collide. Both of them were Jade Life body cultivators. Each of their punches and kicks carried the strength that could collapse mountains and crack the earth. While attacking and defending, Shimen Ye evolved the power of the void and turned it into a huge black sword. It cut through the vault of heaven and suppressed Ning Fan with force. While advancing and retreating, Ning Fan's body was surrounded by a purplish-golden sandstorm. Wherever the sandstorm swept past, the huge void sword was suddenly eroded. Even Shimen Ye was severely injured. Both of them summoned their incarnations. During their attacks, they used their incarnations to offset most of the damage. However, it was inevitable that some injuries would be left behind. This kind of hand-to-hand combat lasted for a whole day. In the first few hours, Ning Fan's body technique was inferior to Shimen Ye's. He attacked less and defended more. In the next few hours, Shimen Ye's injuries worsened and his strength weakened. On the other hand, Ning Fan seemed to have endless energy. The more he fought, the fiercer he became. In the last few hours, Shimen Ye was almost exhausted but Ning Fan was still full of energy. Each of his punches had the strength to collapse a mountain. Shimen Ye finally realized why Ning Fan could become stronger as the battle went on. It was because of Ning Fan's incarnation. He had already reached the level of self-recovery while Shimen Ye's incarnation was still in the initial stage. At this moment, Ning Fan's body was bathed in blood. It was as if he did not know pain and only knew how to kill. He was like a crazed devil that could destroy the world. Every step of his body was broken and then reformed. Every step of his body was broken and then reformed. Between the shattering and solidifying, there was an imposing aura of, "I would rather die in glory than live in dishonor." Moreover, as he continued to attack, his body refinement realm that was on the verge of breaking through was as smooth as water flowing into a canal. He had almost completely broken through the bottleneck of the fourth level. Even though he had yet to break through the bottleneck of the Jade Life realm, there was already a gap in the bottleneck. Currently, Ning Fan's physical body was already infinitely close to the fourth level of the Jade Life realm. From the peak of the third layer to the fourth layer of the Jade Life realm, all he needed to do was to have a bloody battle with Shimen-Yi in the sky and go into closed-door cultivation. After that, he would be able to find an opportunity to break through. Boom! Ning Fan's punches became fiercer and fiercer. Shimen-Yi shockingly discovered that his strength was already at a disadvantage. It was not only because his strength had been greatly reduced and Ning Fan's incarnation had healed itself but also because Ning Fan had broken through the bottleneck of his body refinement realm during the battle with him. Seeing that Ning Fan's fist force was getting stronger and stronger, Shimen-Yi's eyes turned gloomy. He could not help but admit that he had lost more than once in this tug of war where he risked his physical body. For the first time, he was deep in thought. If Ning Fan breaks through to the void refinement realm, how strong would he be? If Ning Fan breaks through to the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, would his true body be a match for him? I don't know. For the first time in his life, Shimen-Yi, who had always been conceited, felt that he did not have the confidence to win against Ning Fan. Boom! Just as he was distracted, Ning Fan's fist came flying towards him and landed on his chest. The strength of this punch gave Shimen-Yi an illusion. It was as if he was hit by a 10,000 zhang tall mountain. He was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. At this moment, all 24 of his ribs were shattered. At this moment, Ning Fan's incarnation that was surrounded by the darkness of the night was forced to reveal its true form. Not good. Shimen-Yi spurted out a mouthful of blood. He knew that the moment he was distracted, he had already shown signs of losing. However, he could not blame anyone else for this. He could only blame himself for not having a firm determination and being distracted. Boom! 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 The heavy fist light landed on Shimen-Yi's chest. Even his broken bones and internal organs were crushed. Even though Shimen-Yi's physical body was at the peak of the Jade Life realm, his flesh and blood festered from the impact. All of his muscles and bones felt like they had fallen apart. He could no longer move at all. At this moment, Ning Fan stomped on Shimen-Yi in an extremely arrogant manner, sending him flying from the sky to the ground. His body turned into a thunderbolt that struck down from the sky. Suddenly, he stomped on Shimen-Yi's chest and abdomen. That stomp completely penetrated the defense on his chest. Boom! Under that stomp, the fragmented space of the heavenly dwelling shattered with a loud bang. In the southern tower, two figures in blood-stained robes fell out of the space. Among them, Shimen-Yi was already in a miserable state. He fell to the ground with all kinds of injuries. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. As for Ning Fan, he stomped on Shimen-Yi's dantian with his cloud-like boots that were stained with minced flesh. As long as he exerted his strength, Shimen-Yi's clone would definitely die. Hiss! All the divine transformation realm cultivators in the southern tower were in disbelief. Their eyes were unblinking and they were completely stunned. Initially, they thought that with Shimen-Yi's strength, it would only take him a moment to eliminate Ning Fan. However, after waiting for a whole day, the outcome of the battle was finally decided. It was obvious that both of them were evenly matched and had experienced a tough battle. The cultivators of the Shimen clan were already unable to accept the bitter battle. What was even more unacceptable was that the dignified, Western Emperor, Shimen-Yi was actually beaten like a dead dog by Ning Fan and stepped on with extreme humiliation. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes were blood red. His eyes were already bloodshot and he did not conceal his baleful chi at all. Just a glance from him was like a peerless ferocious beast, causing the divine transformation realm cultivators of the Shimen clan to retreat with their teeth chattering. What kind of aura was that? This aura even carried the prestige of defeating Shimen Yi. Don't you dare hurt my lord. How dare you? How dare you hurt the young master of my Western Emperor? If you ascend to the northern heaven, you will certainly be hunted down by my Shimen clan. The cultivators of the Shimen clan gradually regained their senses and began to threaten Ning Fan with words, trying to save Shimen Yi. However, none of them dared to step forward and fight Ning Fan. At this moment, Ning Fan was just too terrifying. Shut up. Get lost. All of you, get lost. Shimen Yi, who was being stepped on by Ning Fan, kept coughing out blood. He could not accept the fact that he had suffered a crushing defeat. What was more, he could not accept the fact that his subordinates, whom he despised, saved his clone's life by threatening him in the most inferior manner. In the past, it was only him who stepped on others. When had he ever been stepped on like this? He was unwilling, but he was not willing to rely on the Shimen clan to suppress Ning Fan. He wanted to wait until Ning Fan truly attained the void fragmentation realm before fighting him to avenge himself. Otherwise, he would never be able to wash away this humiliation. Shimen Yi, you've lost. Ning Fan's indifferent tone made Shimen Yi unable to refute. Ning Fan could have trampled Shimen Yi to death with a single stomp. However, Shimen Yi did not use any void fragmentation realm abilities to bully Ning Fan from the beginning to the end. He only used his half-step void refinement realm strength. Because of this, Ning Fan did not destroy his clone. Why didn't you kill me? Why? The loser deserves to die. Shimen Yi felt even more humiliated than being killed when he saw that Ning Fan did not kill him. With the last bit of his strength, he forcefully raised his palm and slammed it on the top of his head. Just like that, his clone collapsed. However, he would rather die than be humiliated. Zhou Ming. I only hate you for humiliating me today. I won't hurt the innocent. I, Shimen Yi, will do what I say. Bei Xiaoman, it's yours now. However, if you touch my subordinates, I will definitely take revenge and make you regret it. Believe me, I can do it. Humph. Ning Fan harumphed coldly. Before Shimen Yi died, he still wanted to disgust Ning Fan and threaten him. He was really despicable. He did not have the intention to kill the cultivators of the Shimen clan in the first place. If all of them were to die in the Rain World, it would be a huge matter. Moreover, this battle was a grudge between Shimen Yi and Ning Fan. It had nothing to do with these divine transformation realm cultivators. Get lost. Ning Fan shouted coldly. The 48 divine transformation realm cultivators of the Shimen clan were terrified. They hurriedly retreated back to the northern heaven. In an instant, only Ning Fan, Bei Xiaoman, Lu and Shi were left in the main hall. I'm not dreaming, right? Fellow Taoist Zhou actually defeated the clone of Emperor Shimen. Doesn't this mean that fellow Taoist Zhou has the strength to fight against a void refinement realm expert after risking his life? TSK. If this matter is spread out, I'm afraid the endless sea will be shaken. Lu Qin sighed. I hope that this matter will not be spread out. Ning Fan shook his head. The grudge this time involved Bei Xiaoman's marriage, the Lost World Palace and the Shimen clan. If this matter is spread out, it would certainly damage the reputation of the Shimen clan. Perhaps Shimen Yi could endure the fact that an ant from the lower world stole his marriage, but the Shimen clan might not be able to. The current Ning Fan could not bear the anger of the Shimen clan. He was really too weak. He did not feel proud of defeating Shimen Yi at all. All he could do was to smile bitterly. What he defeated was just Shimen Ye's clone. If Shimen Ye's true body were to come here, Ning Fan would not even have the chance to fight back with his void fragmentation realm strength. The gap between me and a true heaven's pride is too huge. Unless I break through to the void fragmentation realm, otherwise, Ning Fan shook his head. From today onwards, he would no longer boast about being a heaven's pride. There were too many people who were stronger than him. Zhou Ming, are you alright? Why are you bleeding so much? I'm fine. I just feel a little dizzy. Maybe I've lost too much blood. Ning Fan looked at Bei Xiaoman, whose tears had yet to dry. Suddenly, his heart softened and he could no longer smile. To think that Bei Xiaoman would actually cry for him. It was just too unbelievable. Pa Ning Fan's mind went blank and he really fainted. The direction where he fainted was towards Bei Xiaoman. Before he fainted, he only had two thoughts. Firstly, Shimin Yi was a strong opponent. Secondly, the place where he fainted was really soft, although it was not plump. Bei Xiaoman was at a loss of what to do. When she saw Ning Fan fainting, her face turned pale. However, when Ning Fan fell into her arms, she felt that he was still breathing. It was just that he fainted because he had lost too much blood and was too tired. Damn it. Stinky Zhou Ming. Why did you scare me when you're not dead yet? You're despicable. Move your dirty face away. Lean on me. I. Bei Xiaoman's face turned red with anger. Ning Fan really knows how to faint. He purposely chose to faint on my chest. Was he doing it on purpose? Was he doing it on purpose? Unfortunately, Ning Fan's injuries were not light. Bei Xiaoman did not dare to be irresponsible and leave him on the ground. She could only let him bury his face in her chest and greedily suck the fragrance from her chest. My lady, venerated Ming's injuries are too severe. In my opinion, he must be treated immediately. Shi Bing advised. He had a good relationship with Ning Fan. If it wasn't for Ning Fan, Bei Xiaoman would certainly be captured and brought back to the Northern Heaven. Of course, he did not want to see anything happen to Ning Fan. I know. I'll treat him. I still have some things that I haven't finished using. Bei Xiaoman gritted her teeth. In fact, she had not completely severed her scarlet dragon. She had only severed half of it. She had also only used half of the black crystal that her mother gave her. The remaining half was, of course, precious. However, compared to treating Ning Fan's injuries, severing the scarlet dragon was nothing. Forget it. I'll think of a way in the future. Let Stinky Zhou Ming live first. Humph. He's my human cauldron. If he dies just like this, it'll be a loss for me. Bei Xiaoman carried Ning Fan with her petite body and walked towards the top of the southern tower. That place was her room. Northern Heaven, Shimin Clan. In the stone chamber, Shimin Yi was comprehending the next bottleneck. Outside the chamber, many cultivators were waiting respectfully. Among the cultivators who were waiting, there was even the clan leader of the Shimin clan, Shimin Feng. He was a true immortal realm old monster and also Shimin Ye's father. Looking at the stone chamber, Shimin Ye's eyes were filled with relief. He had 9 sons and Shimin Yi was undoubtedly the most outstanding one among them. He even became one of the 4 sons of the Northern Heaven and was known as the Western Emperor. It was not hard to imagine that Shimin Yi would certainly become the next clan leader of the Shimin clan after tens of thousands of years. He. Like father, like son. Young Master Yi is only 2,000 years old and he has already broken through to the void fragmentation realm. He's one of the few outstanding talents in the entire Northern Heaven. You flatter me. Shimin Feng nodded his head proudly. He was very satisfied with the flattery from the crowd. I heard that young Master Yi went to the lower world to capture the Lost World Palace's 4th mistress. Did something happen to him? What could happen to Yi Er when he descended to the Rain World? Shimin Feng was displeased. No. Clan leader, you misunderstood me. I'm just afraid that young master is too strong and killed too many people. It could only be someone else. How could it be young master? Well said. It could only be someone else. How could it be Yi Er? It doesn't matter how many people of the Rain World die. They are just ants in the lower world. If Yi Er is happy, he can kill them as he pleases. Shimin Feng said disapprovingly. Boom! While the crowd was talking, a loud sound suddenly came from the stone chamber. The stone door was shattered. Among the debris and dust, Shimin Yi, who was wearing a black robe, walked out of the stone chamber. There was blood at the corner of his mouth and his eyes were cold. After taking 3 steps out of the stone chamber, he suddenly vomited blood and half knelt on the ground. This scene scared countless cultivators of the Shimin clan. What happened? Could it be that young Master Yi failed to comprehend the bottleneck? But it shouldn't be this serious. How could young Master suffer such a serious injury? Shut up. Yi Er wasn't injured by others. He was injured by himself. Shimin Feng's eyes were cold. He clearly saw a palm mark on Shimin Ye's forehead. There was no mistake. That palm mark was the inherited supreme skill of the Shimin clan, Great Void Palm. Judging from the palm mark, the palm did not directly hit his forehead. Instead, it hit his avatar, causing the main body to be injured. With Shimin Feng's experience, how could he not know that Shimin Ye's injury was due to an accident that happened to his avatar in the lower world, forcing him to destroy his avatar with a palm strike? He scanned the inside of the ancestral hall with his spirit sense. When he saw that none of the life plates of the cultivators who accompanied Shimin Yi to the lower world were broken, he became very curious. Could it be that Shimin Yi fought with someone and lost? Under humiliation, he destroyed his avatar. Unless that was the case, the 48 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators who were sent to protect Shimin Yi would not ignore Shimin Ye's injury. They would definitely fight the enemy to the death before Shimin Yi. As the saying goes, no one knows his son better than his father. Shimin Feng had already guessed what had happened. Was your avatar defeated by a Void Refinement Realm cultivator? Shimin Feng sighed secretly. If Shimin Ye's Divine Transformation Realm clone was defeated by a Void Refinement Realm cultivator, he still had a way to comfort him. No. He is a peak Divine Transformation Realm cultivator. Shimin Yi said unwillingly. After his avatar died, all of its memories were transmitted back to him using a strange ability. What? Your half-step Void Refinement Realm clone was defeated by a peak Divine Transformation Realm cultivator from the lower world. How is this possible? Shimin Feng was secretly shocked. He was naturally well aware of his son's innate talent. Not to mention the lower world, even in the northern heaven, there was no Divine Transformation Realm cultivator who could destroy Shimin Ye's avatar. However, looking at Shimin Ye's unwilling eyes, Shimin Feng knew that Shimin Yi was certainly not lying. If he was not defeated by someone whose cultivation base was lower than his, he would definitely not be so unwilling. Who is he? Do I need to send people to kill him? No need. I want to wait for him to reach the Void Fragmentation Realm and fight him. His name is Zhou Ming. Shimin Yi clenched his teeth. His vision turned white and he fainted. On this day, the Shimin clan was in an uproar because of Zhou Ming. However, Shimin Feng did not send anyone to the lower world to kill Ning Fan because of Shimin Ye's order. He knew his son very well. Shimin Yi was too arrogant. He must kill Ning Fan with his own hands. Otherwise, everything would be meaningless. Countless cultivators of the Shimin clan were discussing with each other. Naturally, they were talking about the defeat of Shimin Ye's avatar. First, the Rain World has produced Liu Bei. Then, there is Zhou Ming. It seems like there are quite a number of extraordinary people in the lower world. Even Emperor Shi was defeated. TSK. This Zhou Ming is really amazing. If he is given 1,000 years, I'm afraid he will really become an extraordinary person after 1,000 years. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.